aegis of champions. It is an immortal symbol of ultimate triumph. A vessel that's legends across, bears legends across. To prove themselves worthy to claim the champion's crest in the chronicle, in the place in the chronicles of history. Veterans and newcomers alike have fought in tournaments around the globe for the chance to wage battle on the world's biggest stage. Exalted victories, crushing defeats. Blood spill and new blood spill. To the proving grounds was built upon struggle and sacrifice. Stroke of brilliance might change entire fates, and every step on this journey could be the last. Aspiring champions must steel their resolve and trust that they will be the one to the glory. That they will be the ones to lift the aegis of champions. The eyes of the world declare. The eyes of the world declare. None shall rise above us now. Welcome to the finest Dota teams to the finest Dota teams in the world. 2017 champions. 2017 champions. Liquid.
And then we'll get on with the show. I've got a couple of quick housekeeping notes, and then we'll get on with the show. First, thanks for your patience getting through security. Thanks for your patience getting through security. In here, but we may not be able to get Admiral Bulldog in here, but we got all of you. I do want to personally thank our Canadian neighbors. I do want to personally thank our Canadian neighbors. Putting on an event like this when you have people coming from 64 different nations is really challenging. So, Lakag Maratag to Canada. love you guys too. Yeah, I love you guys too. Last thing, the Artifact team is down at Last thing, the Artifact team is down at PAX. But what they asked me to tell you is, but what they asked me to tell you is, if you've linked your ticket to your account, you'll get a free copy of Artifact. And you're all in the beta starting in October. And you're all in the beta starting in October in order to compete in the tournament. So good luck. Everybody enjoy the show. And go Pine.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Vancouver. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Vancouver. For the very first time in history, the International comes to you live from Vancouver in Canada. What a fantastic opening ceremony we've had. How do you follow Gabe Moore after that? Top memes, by the way, Gabe. We do follow it with three fantastic people on our panel to bring you all their ideas and thoughts. And what's going to happen over our first day of the main event? So we welcome two former TI players, and of course is the two men next to me, Fogs and Blacks. Great to have you with us as well, and a veteran broadcaster of TI as well. Do you like veteran?
Every TI, I'm like, veteran sounds great. You know, every TI, I'm like, oh, it's another TI. And then I get here, I'm like, it's as magical as that.
It is, isn't it? The opening ceremony. I'm a sucker for those. I love them.
How many tournaments have we had this year?
I've done lots.
Lots. And that just the difference. And then you have all this hype from me, and then Gabe comes out and memes us. Perfectly.
Big up to Admiral Bulldog at home, by the way. Big up to Admiral Bulldog at home, by the way. Great to have you here as well. You are the official Bulldog. Great to have you here as well. You are the official Bulldog replacement.
I don't know if I should feel good or bad about that. Yeah, I hope it will be a good replacement.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I hope it will be a good replacement for him.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. We're looking forward to hearing your thoughts. So much to talk about, and lots of people to introduce, obviously, as well, and so many things to get through before we can get to the first game. We're about 10 minutes away for the first game of the day. Liquid Optic. It's already started on Twitter.
I know, I saw that. Some spicy start to our day.
Yeah, looking forward to that. What are you looking forward to, Black?
The certified Liquid fanboy, so definitely a Liquid game. And I think it will be the highlight for me for the day.
For me, it's going to be the best of ones. Elimination matches, teams are going to be the best of ones. Elimination matches, teams are going home. It's sad, but you know, you don't get the story of TI with a few teams being knocked out. One in particular, the SEA showdown. We got TNC versus Mineski.
Yeah, it is.
That's going to be a brutal round one match.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be tough. But I tell you what, they are tough. I like the best of ones as well, but I tell you what, they are tough. We do want to hear from you, of course, via all our social media channels. Make sure you follow the Instagram stuff. That will be some stuff on there as well coming along for you, as well as Twitter with the hashtag TIA. If you're here as well, just tweet pictures, tweet your thoughts, support your teams as well. We'd love to hear from you via those social media channels. Now, we've got a number of broadcasters, of course, on our broadcast schedule for you. A lot of people here, actually, but no TI would be the same without the king and queen of the International, ladies and gentlemen. So let's bring them in. I've been bribed into calling him the king.
How's it going?
I've been bribed into calling him the king or something. I tell you what, though, Casey, you need a proper nickname. I can't just keep calling you. You need a proper game nickname.
Slack said he had a couple of ideas. Well, Slack said he had a couple of ideas.
Oh, yeah. You could be KCCNC.
Okay, that's enough. Okay, all right. Okay, that's enough. Okay, all right. Okay. I was thinking in honor of Canada, I could be Casey Looney.
Come on, Canada!
Come on, Canada!
Come on, Canada!
Come on, Canada! Don't worry, we've saved our best jokes for later on.
Much later.
What are you most excited about this week?
I'm in! This is exciting. No, we're at Canada's TI. I'm so freaking out over here. Casey, what are you looking for?
Or do you need a slap in the face, maybe?
Casey, what are you looking for?
Or do you need a slap in the face, maybe? No, okay. We'll talk about that. Dude, that's not my name! Dude, that's not my name! Shut up.
It is now.
No, it is not. Was coming in here. We both actually got the chills. My favorite part was coming in here. We both actually got the chills watching all of the teams come in.
There's just something about the magnitude, knowing what everybody is here.
There's just something about the magnitude,
knowing what everybody is here to play for,
and then seeing all of you gathered here in one place from all over the world. And everyone watching at home, we're going to do our very best all week to make you feel like you're right here with all of us. And everyone watching at home, we're going to do our very best all week to make you feel like you're right here with all of us. We have some great content planned, I think.
Oh, yeah. We're going to make you too close to us, if you know what I mean. It's going to be one heck of a TIA.
Did you take an awkward pill?
I sure did, Casey. We'll be right back with you.
We'll be right back. What is that? That's not
I don't know.
what is that? That's not.
I don't know. Can we just end the segment?
Fine. Can we hear from the fans, please? Back to you, Paul. God help me. Back to you, Paul. God help me.
You're on your own, Casey. Sorry, he's a law unto himself. What can you say? He doesn't need an awkward pill either. Great for both of you. Again, as I said, great for both here as well. Be careful, fans. That's all I'm going to tell you when you're wandering the halls, because you never know when one of those two might jump out on you. They said like it's today, though, is it? The build-up. It's not just today, though, is it? It's 12 months. You've been through this thing. You get in the last TI. You then search for a new team. You get into a new team, and then you get into a new team, and then it's back again. 11 months of grind to get back again.
It's been a long year. 11 months.
And this year in particular,
it's been a long year.
And this year in particular as well, back with the DPC and having all these majors and minors and everything else. 21 tournaments for these players to play through.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams they tended like some seemed for my taste way too many tournaments. Some seemed burned out, skipped a couple of tournaments at the end. But
you've had to manage that, haven't you? All the way through. Teams have had to think about how much am I flying? Do I need to practice now?
It has a very big impact on you too. If you play too many tournaments, you just can't perform because you're tired. It's just not possible.
What was your highlight from the season? What stood out? I mean, is it one game, or is there a tournament, or something, or a performance? What stood out?
For me, it's the fact that Liquid after TI stayed on top. Like, they weren't the best team all year round, but they were consistent. They were top 2, top 3 all the time. They come into TI once again as favorites. That's the first. We never had the TI returning team, the TI winning returning team coming in. People expect them to win, and that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I ended the season perfectly with the win at the Super Majors, which I hadn't won, by the way. It's the only thing they hadn't won was a major outside of the TI. Let's talk group stage.
Group stage was wild. I think we saw a lot of teams. Group stage was wild. I think we saw a lot of teams show why they're here, of course, but also chance improvement as the tournament progressed. Because we saw, in particular, Liquid right off the bat. Had a bit of a rough start, and then they showed why they're that dominant team. Why what they did last year happened. Learn. They were like, okay, we're going to play as many games as possible. We're going to learn. That's the best Liquid that we've seen.
Day 2, Black. OPTIC were bottom of the table, and yet they've made last. They were last in their group, and yet they've made the upper bracket. That's some performance over the last 2 days.
Yeah, the absolute last day, I think they went 5-0 to make it to the upper bracket through a tiebreaker as well. That was very impressive.
All right, we're going to get more from one of our panelists in just a moment, but why don't we show you what the group stage looked like?
The group stage. The group stage. And 18 teams earned a place in Vancouver for the International. But only 16 are destined to face off on the main stage. The first 2 days of Dota brought many surprises.
The battle for the Aegis is on, and it's Matu snatching the Aegis to 4 black hole on the 4. They caught them all. Everybody's got triple kill.
Coming into day 3, the upper bracket spots were still up for grabs, and the battle in pursuit of them was fierce.
Could it be a triple rampage? Yes, it could! A triple rampage for Army! You gotta be kidding me.
2 open qualifier teams, Evil Geniuses and VGJ Storm, defied the established order early, seizing control of the groups from the very first day. But only VGJ Storm maintained their lead and guaranteed themselves a spot in the upper bracket by just the end of day 3. Defending champions Team Liquid were the victims of the most lopsided loss seen at the tournament this year.
Now the cleanup happens as Liquid lose for 39-1. Have we ever seen Liquid lose a game this bad?
But conceding that game seemed to light a fire beneath them, which drove them to a close to flawless run to the top spot. Unprecedented pressure, unforgiving opponents and nerves can often muzzle an otherwise fierce underdog. Day 4 for TI's first Brazilian squad was perhaps where said pressure struck.
I'm King RD, he's dead for 40 seconds, Tabo's dead as well. That's going to be the hopes. It's just one after another, and Pain Gaming are going to be eliminated here at the International 2018.
CIS qualifiers Winstrike, contrary to their namesake, were left with the threat of elimination resting on their last series of the groups. OG, a house name in Dota, stood between them and their first main stage experience. A spectacular performance with their backs against the ropes gave them that chance.
They've already taken the fight against OG. Now they come back with a three-man surprise. OG, what did you expect out of that?
A convincing 2-0 tiebreaker over IG cemented it. OPTIC Gaming was another team who became all too familiar with the perils of the group stage.
Striker, you are! They've got the damage. Pike's can OPGB, no escape. Piker, he's dead for 110 seconds.
But an undefeated run on day 4 took them from the fear of elimination to being within arm's reach of the upper bracket. A three-way tie. Newbie, Secret, and OPTIC. The idea? 3 best-of-1s between the tied squads. The reality? 2 quick games of Dota that crushed Newbie's chances of another upper bracket run. As the last throne fell, our main event bracket was set. Now each team knows their next opponent, but little else is certain, except that the Aegis of Champions awaits in Rogers Arena.
We may have lost 2 of our teams so far, and today we'll lose 4 more, but that's all for later on because we're going to focus first off at the start of the day with our 2 upper bracket matches between 4 fantastic teams. We've already mentioned Liquid and OPTIC's route to the upper bracket quarterfinals, but 2 other teams will be in attendance as well. We've got the magical match of PSG LGD versus Virtus Pro coming up as our second match of the day as well. I can't even believe that those 2, one of them is going to the lower bracket in round 1.
I can't believe that on the opening 2 matches of TI, we have 3 of the top DPC teams right away off the bat.
Yeah, 3 out of the top 4, and they dominated the entire season between the 3 of them. We're going to turn our attention to these 2 teams, Evil Geniuses and OPTIC. I find it interesting that they picked OPTIC. Are you on board? Because we should explain as well to those that aren't aware, you were able to pick the team from the lower bracket in the upper bracket of the 3rd, 4th place team with the other group if you won your group, which Liquid then did, and they chose OPTIC.
The alternative was choosing LGD, though. And I think with LGD's run over the last few tournaments, they won 2 majors very close to the end of the season. Picking LGD, a very proven team playing in front of a big stage, that's a scary thought. OPTIC, they've had 1 LAN win at a minor. They're a team not really known for big performances on the big stage, so I think it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, but what about Black? The fact that you've got to beat everyone if you want to win the Aegis. Yeah, do you not want to get rid of LGD early? If you can beat them early, does that not hurt them a bit more?
That's what I was going to get at. I think if you can take out your fiercest competition right from the get-go, I think that could be a very, very big... Maybe obviously it's a big gamble, right?
They could be the ones... knock you off. They could be the ones that want to go for that streak too, right? Because right now, OPTIC is on a 5-game win streak, right? And Liquid is on an 8-game? 8-game win streak.
Well, if you're familiar with the International, you'll know what that horn means. It means we are time. It's ready to get into our first game of the day. It is Evil Geniuses versus OPTIC Gaming. We're going to preview both teams, let you know what they're all about, show you the lineups, and we'll be into the draft very, very quickly indeed. We're going to start things off, though, with Team Liquid. A former winner amongst those teams as well. PPD, one of 11 players here, gents, trying to win a second Aegis. We weren't able to talk about this earlier on, but this is what it's about this next 6 days. It's not just winning the Aegis, not just doing everything, but it's also, you know, who's going to win too, and they have a chance in here. Let's check in with the OPTIC lineup. And their opponents, of course, the champions, the defending champions of TI7 is Team Liquid. All-star lineup, champions from last year, looking for a second Aegis as well. Amazing that we've got 6 players, gods, in this match. This first match of the day, 6 of them have already won at the International.
Yeah, I think for OPTIC particularly, you got to look at that guy, PPD, TI5 champion. He's the one that needs to keep everyone calm, lead this team, give them that confidence to take on TI7 champions Liquid, because you got to imagine there's a lot more nerves in their booth than Liquid's.
And Black, we were talking about this last night, you and I. You had some interesting opinions about Peter. He seems to have this uncanny knack of being able to bring players up and bring them together.
Yeah, personally, I feel there's only like a handful of people who can do that in Dota, and PPD is definitely one of them. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, he can make you great. And he makes like every team work. Like, there hasn't been a team that really failed under his leadership, I think. So this guy I think really deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, maybe even Fault could have done well.
Yeah.
So come on.
Well,
that was too early. That was too easy. I'm glad we're bringing up right away, though, the captains. Because I know in a lot of matchups, people are talking about, all right, the mid, sure, all these roles are important. But for this one, I do feel like it's a lot of a mind game between Kuro and Peter.
Yeah, they are 2 legendary captains. It's going to be interesting to see how they draft against each other as well. There are lots of mind games. I mean, it's already begun on the social media. We've had Liquid. I can't remember the last time Liquid got that feisty on there, but you guarantee Peter's got those draft tweets already, isn't he? If they manage to win here, he's gotten ready.
He's not going to... I don't think so. Because Peter lately, right, when he does win after someone does something like that, he kind of stays a little quiet. He knows he's like, actions speak louder.
Absolutely. That's the best way to return them back. They have met 3 times before, gods, over the DPC. It's mostly gone Liquid's way, but there was a 1-0 win in the middle of that at DAC for OPTIC. Can we read too much into that? Or it's such a different game now, isn't it?
It's changed. It's also just a different beast when it's TI, so it's a nice maybe reassurance probably on OPTIC's mind. Hey, we did get that 1 win. They're not unbeatable. They're human like us, but it's just so different when you're playing at TI.
Yeah, I know we're focusing on OPTIC. It's mainly because what more is there to say about Liquid? They're back again. They're in great form. They won the Super Major at the end of the season. But focusing on OPTIC for a moment, how do they cope with this? Because for some of those guys in that book, this is a new experience. I know they've played in big tournaments so far, but this is TI. It's different, isn't it?
Wick, it's Quinn's first one, right?
Yeah.
So, well, actually, he was at the last one, but not playing.
33 played in the last one.
33 did play at the last one. There's some role experience, but I mean, it's definitely a different monster when you're on this type of stage, no matter how ready you can be.
Yeah,
you're playing versus the last year champions right off the bat.
And there's a different expectation this year, isn't there, on those players? I mean, I think last year there was kind of like they're going to struggle. It's going to be tough for them last year, both 33 and for CCC. This year, they're in a championship-winning potential squad.
Yeah, they are, and they also started from a winner bracket, which a lot of people didn't really expect at the beginning of the tournament, and they definitely gave themselves a very, very good shot at actually going deep into the tournament. But of course, Liquid has other plans for them.
Yeah, I mean, all of you, just feel free to chime in. What do you make of this? It seems unrelentless from Kuroki. It seems like he won't stop until he gets 2, and I get the feeling that if he wins 2, the first thing he'll say after lifting the Aegis is, I want 3. There's just he seems to have limited motivation, doesn't it?
Dude, I hope so. If Kuro comes, let's say they do make it, and he goes up there and he quits, oh my God, that's devastating for all of us. Yeah. So let's hope that they keep
talk about retirements. There's lots of Dota ahead of us. But yeah, what do you make of this motivation?
There's a lot of amazing players in Dota with great legacies, particularly spanning even further back to before Dota 2 with Dota 1, and there's no one player or team that's really made that we're the best kind of legacy yet, and I think that is what motivates Kuro. That's this team as a whole, but particularly him, because he's one of those few from the old guard who's continued to play from 10 plus years ago. He wants to be remembered as the best Dota player ever.
Yeah. Is there a hint of the original Na'Vi legacy that he was obviously a little part of when he went into that team? Did he see a little bit and think, oh, these guys have made 3 finals in a row. That's as close as anyone's ever got. Is there an element of that? He kind of maybe saw legacy potential there?
Definitely. I mean, TI is already kind of this legacy thing for Kuro. If he makes it like this, it would brand him as probably the best of all time.
And there's definitely this big rivalry, I think, between those big captains, PPD, Puppy, Kuro, some of the Chinese captains like Zhao 8, who's no longer playing, but those guys were always up there, TI after TI, competing in the top 3, top 4, so it's kind of yet to be proven which team and which captain is going to be remembered having won the most TIs.
Isn't it crazy, as we wait for the draft, by the way, isn't it crazy, Black, that we're in the 8th International, 35 different players have won the Aegis, and 7 different organisations. Also, if it carries on this year the way it has done in the past, it's an even year, and it's the 8th year, by the way, which is very lucky in China. And therefore, it's a Chinese team that wins this year who has no players that have ever won before and not an org that won. LGD win this, don't they?
LGD or...
Everyone else can go home.
What about Serenity?
Well, Serenity could win it too. Yeah. Good point. Vici could do.
I mean, there's a lot of teams that could potentially win it for the first time. Even VP, favorites for a lot of people. If they would win it, they would be the first timers as well. But of course, it would break the curse or whatever people want to call it.
Yeah, I think their turn's next year if it follows round, isn't it? Because Navi won obviously all the way back, so it goes CIS, North America, Europe, CIS, North America. So it's their turn next time, right?
Should be.
Yep.
I don't know if we can cope with all these memes.
I don't think they can.
Streaks.
They can't either, right? VP's been dominant throughout the whole year.
Yeah, they've been fantastic, haven't they? LGD, though, great end to the season. They've got a genuine shot, Black, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, when did they start? Like 3 months before the season ended? They started, and suddenly they ended up like top 3 of the season. It was insane. They just got second tournament after tournament. They won a lot of tournaments through the second. It was an unprecedented run.
Yeah. What was the difference for them? What changed?
They shook things up a bit. It was the roster change, really. Like they brought in X-Nova, they brought in Chalice, they brought in some young blood, and those guys just, I think, had this drive, this motivation just to win and prove themselves. They work well. The team just meshed better around FY as a captain, and that's all you sometimes need is just, you know, a fresh perspective.
That's what I was going to point out is the FY factor, is that he was playing off lane and then he got swapped to support so he could do his captaining role from the proper one.
I mean, he's a support. I mean, he's a godlike support. He's a legendary.
Exactly.
What is he doing in the off lane?
Yeah, FY off lane is... we just want to forget that.
Don't forget that, yeah.
He wasn't bad by any means, but it's not him.
No, it's not what he does.
Yeah.
Let's talk heroes, because as I said, we're moving towards the draft, just waiting for the players to get rid in both of these two booths. Surprises, gods, from... When we kind of came in, we kind of went, we don't really know what the meta's going to be. We've had a 2-month break. There's not really been that much action. It'd be interesting to see what all the teams brought. I think the one thing that we found out is that all of the teams value Enchantress.
Yeah, Enchantress super high. There was quite a lot of like new niche picks that came out. The Wraith King, alongside that, Ursus, Clinxes, heroes you haven't really seen throughout the entire DPC season. It's just suddenly a whole new kind of meta of its own here at TI.
It's like a matchmaking meta, right?
Yeah, a lot of it came from the pub play before TI.
There was like a very long break, and obviously all of these guys, they play a lot of matchmaking. And like these Wraith Kings, these Clinxes, they all got first picked in matchmaking all the time, and I think that's where like all these picks are coming from right now.
I think it's pretty cool that this year it feels different for me, because in the other years I felt like we started to learn after like 2 or 3 days, right? We started to get this establishment of the meta, whatever you want to call it. But this year, these teams are all practicing here for quite a long time. So right off the bat, first game, we're like, Venge first pick. And we're all looking at each other like, all right, well, the rumors are true. I guess there is its own established meta already.
Yeah, I want to bring that up, actually. Venge is potentially one of those heroes that is going to be hotly contested between these two teams. The weird thing is they're one of the only two teams that where the 4 and the 5 play the Venge, and they're quite happy to switch that around. They don't really mind too much whether it's a kind of a more attacking 4 or a more passive 5. Both Kuro and GH have got equal number of games from the group stages, so you'd assume they both want the Venge.
Yeah, more than likely. I think there's a couple heroes that we have that are very flexible, that are lying amongst that role, that have risen in popularity in the last week or so.
Yep, and also can be played as a core.
Yep.
Which is, it goes back to what we were talking about, I think, right at the very beginning of the DPC season, Black, was that flexible first 2 picks are preferred. They like those things that can be switched in and out of a core. Yep. Is it a core? Is it a 4? Is it a 5? They like those kind of picks.
I mean, Venge is probably not as good as a core anymore because they nerfed the talents, which were really good for a core before, and now they're more like, they fit a support role better. Yep. So we will probably see it as a 4 or 5, and then like leave the core picks for like later in the draft.
We do see people vary, right? Like I think that's why, for me, I saw the rise of all these heroes. It's like the Mirana, the Wraith King, the Venge, is because you pick these early on, and someone counterpicks you, and you're like, all right, well, Mirana, your support, whatever. You just relegate it to whatever you feel needed for the draft.
Are you surprised, Gons, about the earliness of the Broods and the Huskars that we've seen in the groups?
Yeah, Brood was a hero, I think, very important for this matchup particularly because both teams play it very well, Matu and 33, and to the extent that this is a matchup that we're talking about between the two captains, Kuro and PPD, you got to look at which players pick can kind of win in the game. And I think with OPTIC, 33, he's the guy who plays those niche heroes, can play some weird picks. And for Liquid, you look at Miracle. He plays everything. He'll take that 10th pick of the draft usually, win you the game off whatever he's playing. So definitely the hero pool for those two plays very, very different, of course, and I think much smaller with 33, but the kind of things that can just win you games, like the Brood, the Husker, these kind of cheesier picks.
I feel like it's kind of cool that we have this opening matchup, and these two teams I feel like are the ones that aren't afraid to go a little bit outside the box with some of their picks. Like, they shared this Venomancer, right, where they see these melee heroes a couple times, they'll pick the Veno. They're not afraid to try heroes that I feel like other teams are a little bit hesitant on going for.
What about the Kuro Klings?
I didn't get to see that game.
You did not see it?
What about the Phoenix Core?
I didn't get to see that one either. I saw bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, there have been some out there stuff, which is always fun, isn't it, for us? Because we kind of sit there watching, and you're trying to watch one of 4 games that are going on in the group stage, and you kind of, what are they going to do with this one? It's very interesting to see that it is a meta, but it isn't a meta. It's almost like a personal team meta, that are they trying stuff, or are they confident they can win this match, therefore they can be a bit riskier? You never quite know, do you?
Nope, and these teams have now had some time to prep and wait, right? Yeah. So now, are we going to come in here and see the exact same thing from the group stages, or are we going to see a little bit of a switch up?
Most banned for OPTIC during the group stage. They banned Enchantress 11 times, which would suggest they don't want to play against it, but we've seen that an awful lot from a lot of the teams as well. Interestingly, on the other side of the fence, Liquid haven't banned it. They're like, come at us, bro.
You've got my control.
Yeah.
He loves Enchantress.
Yeah, he is like the incarnate of Enchantress.
Yep.
He always plays it on pubs, and he plays it really well. No reason to ban it, honestly.
And then, of course, we have the other issue of the unbannable GH. He just seems to have more heroes these days that he can play really well, and it's even scarier.
And a lot of those heroes have come back to the meta, like
they have,
Earth Spirit, Nyx Assassin, Earth Shaker. He plays all these heroes incredibly well from the 4th position. You add that to his typical IO type picks. He's very hard to draft against.
Yeah, they've banned a lot of IO. That's their second most banned for OPTIC as well. Amongst their bans, Templar Assassin, that's another hero that's come out of nowhere. We saw a little bit here and there. It was more like a counter pick, wasn't it, earlier on in the season, depending on what the mid matchup was. But now it seems to be properly back, but hasn't seen a great deal of success.
How is it actually doing here?
Overall,
I know a lot of teams are picking it. That's the thing. So that changes it.
It's 56.5 after 23, so it's not terrible, but it's not it's not like it's game winning 75% or something.
Usually TA tends to lose when it gets like late game.
Yes,
because the most cores just scale way better than the TA, and the items they can itemize way better than the TA. It's more like a mid game finisher. You get the ages, you push the high ground, and that's usually how you end with the TA. But here the games have been actually quite long, I think, right? A lot of them. Especially the TA games, they have been quite long.
I feel like a lot of the games have gotten to the point where it's incredibly farm heavy. Like we have the the matchup. You're like, okay, they counterpick TA versus Lina. All right, what are we gonna get? And then the TA's doing Ancients all game, and then the Lina is also doing Ancients all game. So like, oh wow, all right, this could go either way kind of now. And it seems like the Chinese teams in particular don't really mind playing that Lina versus TA matchup.
Yeah, we've even seen Linas beat TAs in lane.
Yep, I saw Ori.
Yeah.
Ori versus no one. Ori solo killed him twice. That was pretty remarkable.
It was intense, yeah.
There's a man waiting on the commentary desk who is very happy that the Drow is back.
Oh, the Drow is back? And also...
And it's doing very well, I have to say. 65% win rate off 20 games.
And one of these two teams picked Enigma as well.
Yes. Yes. I think we might just see the Enigma in this series.
It's definitely possible.
Yeah. It's been a lot of changes to the meta black. What have you made of it as a whole in the group stages? What have you enjoyed about it?
Dark Willow.
Dark Willow is one of those that's kind of gone in and out of the meta, and it is in this particular game as we welcome you to draft number 1 of OPTIC Gaming versus Team Liquid, the defending champions, going head-to-head with a team who narrowly missed out on claiming a top 8 place in the regular season. They finished 9th overall and are captained by former champion PPD.
But look at the Liquid ban. They banned Enchantress.
They did. Which we talked about. They hadn't banned, so they were mildly worried about it.
And the other two heroes, the Venge and the Marauder are taken out, and there's the Drow Ranger taken out too. So OPTIC, they took the IO first pick, right? And Liquid responded with Wraith King and Willow.
And that's another block pick as well, isn't it? The IO, obviously, GH.
Yeah, you don't want to give it to GH.
You have to first pick this hero. If you're leaving it in the pool, you have to first pick it.
Yeah.
It's just a given. And I think the Weaver pick is kind of neat to me, because I think we've seen IO openers followed by Gyrocopter every time in this tournament, right?
Yeah.
So that one I feel is a little bit of a change-up.
Also, Weaver, though, is really strong against IO as well.
Yes.
I don't know if Liquid ran Weaver yet, but they definitely can if they wanted to, and it's really strong against IO.
Yeah, we've been seeing a bunch of teams do that hero versus IO for sure. If they're going to play against the low armor.
Low armor. You can't really catch him ever.
Disable.
It's very hard.
So the Weaver versus the Wraith King, you can go for your mana break talent or you go for Diffusal. Very good versus the Wraith King. The bugs as well versus Willow, right? You can't actually remove the bug even if you go in your Shadow Realm.
You can even stack both, right? Like Diffu and the Talon, the burn.
Yeah, you can take both.
I feel like not enough teams are drafting these Mind and Burn heroes against Wraith King, because the whole idea of this 3-position Wraith King is that, you know, you're just a frontliner that no one wants to go on, you reincarnate, and no one's really picking enough Weavers and PLs to counter it.
It's a brood ban, right?
Yeah,
it's a brood ban. We expect gyro ban. They still take out the gyro just in case. I think that's I like that a lot, because the Weaver, it's not one that you know it's going to be paired, you know, like Pycat's playing it or something. No, there's still the variety that they can put in multiple different roles.
A gyro solo mid with an IO follow-up can be so devastating. Most heroes actually just die to it. Like they tower dive you and you can't do anything about it.
I even saw some games where like LGD would pick 3 cores and then they have the gyro and they're like, all right, well, gyro's going to be the offlaner because he's actually not really the most important. He'll get to that point anyway.
Yeah, he just like takes on more like a team fighty role rather than a carry.
Exactly.
So this Weaver is the 4th.
Yeah, that's to solve the versus that minus armor and the tether, right? So that can be pretty cool. This Lich pickup.
I love Lich. Like in this lane meta right now, I think Lich is really, really strong and a bit underused for me even.
The team that showed that Serenity, they were picking it all the time in the group stage and had some great wins with the hero.
They ended with it 2 times in a row, right? I think they picked it in 2 of their last few games.
10 seconds remaining.
I mean Lich just makes your hero so tanky. Like everybody that hits you gets slowed, and then you get a free plate mail.
So they played this Weaver 3 times, OPTIC, during the group stage, 1 or 3.
Okay.
Did they pick it that early too? Because the second Weaver is quite early.
It is quite early.
It has been getting banned a lot, though.
Yeah, it's been banned out in the second phase as well. So Liquid know they're going to play it. They wanted to play it. I think it would have been a second phase ban here, wouldn't it, Gods?
I think so. I think Weaver is one of those heroes that's looking like it's just a stable core you can pick in the first stage because it is flexible with the lane. It's kind of similar to Mirana where it's a strong laner, goes in kind of anywhere and just fits most drafts.
Yeah, weirdly, OPTIC haven't played it out in the off lane just yet. But sorry, OPTIC haven't played it in the off lane. Liquid have.
Liquid have.
Yeah, Liquid have. Yeah. Have they played it mid yet, OPTIC? Or was it only VP? VP definitely played it mid, I know that.
I saw no one playing it once, yeah.
No one played it once. Honestly, mid Weaver is really strong. You get like every rune.
Yeah, Miracle played it once as well.
And in the mid as well?
Okay. Yeah, that's like a Dota 1 throwback, right?
Yeah.
I feel like people used to do that a lot in Dota 1. Yeah, bottle with Weaver.
Liquid's
Tiny.
Liquid has not lost to Tiny.
Ever.
In this tournament.
All time.
I'm not sure about ever. Yeah, not quite yet though in this tournament. I think I don't know, we'll probably hear about it from a certain person later, but they have quite a lot of wins versus this one.
Could you elaborate?
Could you elaborate, sir?
I'm sure he will.
OPTIC Gaming.
I like the Tiny pick because it diversifies their damage. You know, you see this Lich, this Frost Armor is just going to make everyone super tanky to physical damage. Get this new combo, the Avatos, where you can just kill a squishy support, a Lich, and a Dark Willow at the start of the fight. Like, you just can't rely entirely on physical damage when Lich is in the game.
And it lets you like go through towers a little bit better too, right? The Lich armor is obnoxious. Tiny can at least go through that. I like your point too.
But the response is even better, I think, because Kling's completely bursts down IO and Tiny. Tiny has no armor whatsoever until like mid-late game.
5 seconds remaining.
And of course he's very tanky with ult on, and level 10 he has a magic resistance talent.
He does have a magic
12%, not that much, but it's still a little bit.
Tell you what, the fun thing about the Tiny is OPTIC have played this in a variety of different ways. Zai's played it, 33's played it, and CCNC's played it in this tournament.
Yeah. I had a really remarkable game that we got to cover with Owen where Zai was playing the Tiny, and he won them the game in the first 6 minutes or so just by his rotations. So if it is going to be that.
Is that where he switches with 33 and 33 becomes more of a 4? Or do they still play it as a 3 and a 4?
It was, in the situation I got to see, it was 33 playing a more exclusive like solo offlane. He was playing the Enigma, and then it allowed Zai to actually take up more of the map and be his own element.
10 seconds remaining.
Into the game. So the Dragon Knight picked up.
OPTIC's draft is completely open. They can go anywhere with any hero right now.
So the cool thing about DK, right, is versus the Clinks, you actually don't want to go into your Dragon form and stun, right? You want to get melee range blink stun, because you can dodge the projectile if it's in range, if you're in Elder Dragon form, but not if you're in melee form, with strafe, that is.
Yeah. I mean, it's always like a pseudo counter. I think actually late game Clinks is really good against DK. You activate your BKB and you kind of just burst them down. You don't want to lane the Clinks against a DK though.
No.
No, you definitely want to avoid that. In a perfect world, you want to have the Clinks against the Tiny if possible.
That's probably why that's a good point. That's probably why they grabbed the DK too, right? Because we've seen Miracle play that Clinks.
Yeah.
Oh.
Abaddon.
Wow. What?
Is this is that because they want to group up versus the Clinks?
It looks like this is some like mid-game timing where they're just kind of 5-man. Clinks is kind of a mid-game hero, but if you're 5-manning sticking together, and DK's timing like matches up well because he's going to have his first item or two be very tanky, maxed out passive. Clinks doesn't really hurt him until he gets like a couple of big items.
The Liquid needs damage, honestly. They have 4 heroes that are incredibly tanky, like the IO as well as the Abaddon, just going to keep everyone alive.
And that is the support Tiny then, right?
It must be the support Tiny, or position 4.
Yeah, which is interesting. I don't think run it.
Well, what about the OD? OD is like...
Well, I guess the issue is like who's playing the Clinks, because it has been Miracle in the past. They don't really have that Matu hero.
Always been him?
They played it...
At this tournament, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no, they did have that one
Kuroki
game.
Yeah,
the Kuroki game,
right?
yeah. One Kuroki game. Yep.
They definitely need damage now. They need like some, I don't know, like Invokers, some OD, some Miracle hero.
I feel like they're missing some team fight coming in. Because Willow, you provide a lot of disable, your damage is good for single target, but I do feel like they need a little bit more to breach through Optic, which you can tell they're going to group up in that mid game.
And the Willow's going to be GH.
Yeah.
Assuming...
Alchemist.
Select your heroes.
An Alchemist. Does that solve the puzzle, I wonder?
It's actually really
this
good
particular draft.
because they can't really pressure him in the lane.
Pardon me, boys.
We've seen it a lot.
It is time for 60 seconds of stats. Get that timer up there. Watch Miracle in this match. He is the only player to average 10 or more kills per game in the history of the International. We got a little bit of a mix-up here on the side of Liquid. Not sure where he's going to be, but he is going to light the world on fire. On the side of Optic, 33 has to be the X factor for them in this series. In their last 29 games, dating back to the Summit 9, they are 0-13 when he has more deaths than kills. They are 13-3 when he has more kills than deaths. They are going to need to hold up with 33 in his lane if the green wall is going to stand up to the assault of the defending champs. But guys, let's get this TI8 main event party started. We've got 2 great captains fighting to be the first ever to lift the aegis twice. Dota 2 fans, put your hands together. Here are Toby 1 and Cinderin.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nahaz. I couldn't have said it any better, except I could have said it without statistics. I'm Toby 1 here with Cinderin. I'm looking forward to a terrific matchup. As Nahaz was saying, captain versus captain, 2 TI winning captains. What a great way to start TI8.
Yeah, there's bound to be a lot of surprises, I think, in this series. When PPD comes in and plays against a team that he has studied a lot and obviously knows very well from past experience, you're going to see some curveballs. And I feel like we've already got the first one coming our way here. I do believe it is indeed a position 5 Abaddon. This is something I think we haven't seen the whole tournament. There's a lot of surprise coming into this for me, honestly. This hero has more or less been completely absent the whole tournament. I believe Abaddon has been picked less than a handful of times. I think personally I saw it maybe 1 game in the whole group stage. So a very rare pick that PPD has pulled out for this game. And historically, Abaddon has been swinging between being a position 3 and a position 5 most of the time. There's been phases where it has been a 1, but this is very uncharacteristic, and it's something you're probably going to be seeing further on in this tournament, is that these teams know each other so much. They've played so many games in the groups, so they will be trying to next level on the draft.
But this is something, too, we're expecting to come out from PPD. Like, he's not just going to sit there and play Team Liquid's draft, play Team Liquid's game, and Team Liquid are doing... Like, yeah, they've mixed it up. We have the Lich pick up for Kuro. Like, he's been playing the rating as well. So the panel was saying it's very dynamic in the way Optic can actually lane everything they've got, but Liquid were looking for the same level of flexibility. You don't want that being behind in the draft feeling at the very beginning. And both teams, like, they'll have to feel pretty comfortable with this. And you were thinking about the logic, too, of, like, why does the Abaddon pickup really work here? Like, who is it against? Who's it meant to shut down?
I think it's... From what I can tell, the first thing that the panel covered is this 5-man style, but I feel like Abaddon should, in theory, be a really good pick against Dark Willow. I do believe the one problem he has is I think you cannot actually... Is this 2 runes?
It's 3 for Liquid, 1 for Optic.
He should be fine. He can Shadow Realm TP. He's probably going to do that. Okay. So, good start for Liquid. They get that extra rune. It's going to cost them a bit of regen there for GH, but they're probably happy with this. So Abaddon's Aphotic Shield, obviously removing these stuns, is really useful against the Wraith King. It's great against the Dark Willow, who has multiple ways of locking heroes down. But I do believe you cannot actually remove the Terrorize on yourself by activating your ultimate. You can, however, remove it on allies, if I remember correctly.
Love watching that top lane where 33 just gets harassed up by Mind Control. It's a level 1 Searing Arrow. The medic has finally arrived in the top lane, so Zaya's come up there to make sure this DK lane is safe. It's going to be secure for 33.
And just looking across these lanes, we were talking about how OPTIC can be flexible with their lanes, and I wonder which team feels like they got the better deal out of this. So Lich dual lane offlane is a classic. The panel was saying that Dragon Knight wants to play against the Clinks, so as far as that goes, that's good for OPTIC. Tiny against Alchemist is a Tiny favorite lane in the beginning, but Alchemist ultimately will start getting his farm in the jungle. And then finally in the bottom lane, this Abaddon Weaver lane is actually a really old classic from years back. Gives Weaver that extra bit of tankiness that it's lacking. You send in the Weaver aggressively with Shikuchi. You have that buffer from Aphotic Shield to protect and deal damage. We'll see how these lanes go for them.
Well, Matumba's copying a fair chunk of damage.
So is PPD. Yeah. Abaddon has 0 armor, and he's playing without a Stout Shield. So that hurts.
At least he'll get a stick now. So actually, there's not that much spam. Maybe from GH cause some problems. But how does OPTIC actually deal with the mid lane? We've seen Tiny versus Alchemist. I think Sumail was the best example from the group stage where he just followed the Alchemist wherever he goes. Do you want that kind of level of aggression from CCNC? Or is it on the rotation from the side lanes?
Well, what I generally like to say when Alchemist is in the game and it's a core, then it's an Alchemist game. Like, he is the centerpiece of the game for both teams, really. You can't just leave Alchemist completely unattended. So first of all, you want CCNC to aggress in the lane. What Sumail did in the group stage was kind of extreme in terms of aggression, but in the right case, it can be great. Generally, what you do, though, is you bring supports in to try to contest Alchemist's jungle camps. You try to either steal them or kill Alchemist as he is farming them. But we'll see. I feel like CCNC as a player doesn't really have the same super aggressive mindset that Sumail does, however. So I would be surprised to see him starting to dive that tier 2 tower minute 4, like we saw Sumail do against Somnus earlier on.
PPD, they just want to trigger off the shield nice and early, looking for that extra damage. GH has got it, but not enough. 10 HP, and PPD denies himself on the bottom lane. Does not want to give them that first blood.
Close call.
Real close, probably too close.
A little more charged up on that Shadow Realm, and I think GH had him, but he was worried that PPD was going to fog him in the trees on the right, so had to go for the attack there, and PPD with the quick maths.
The other intense lane's been up on top. Mind Control's been trying to harass down both Zai, but his positioning, Zai, has been absolutely terrific. Always backs off. Let's 33 take a couple of extra hits, and there's a lot of consumables left up on that top lane, so it feels almost null to this harassment damage that Mind Control does. Gets hit by Dual Breath, there's even less power. We're going to have another crackdown on bottom lane. The Bramble's in position. PPD will catch up on the 2, but GH copying a lot of damage. PPD again! 2 for 2 on the denial. Team Liquid feels like they got something else. Pike can't care of the Bramble. There's the Briar Patch, and Matumba's able to get the stun off. Weaver still with a decent amount of life thanks to the stick charge from before, but he's so slow. Half a second he needed it. And he had it to get the Shikuchi off and back underneath the tier 1 tower in relative safety.
It might not look that big, but Pycat popping that Bramble actually cost him so much regen. He's going to have to send out extra regen. Matumba Man obviously taking advantage of it, getting that Wraithfire Blast out, doing a lot of extra damage from mid.
Rotates in towards the mid, just harassing down CCNC. They'll burn the salve and they'll back out, but huge thing as well is like GH has had to walk all the way back to base. It's been the long walk of shame before he can return to the lane.
This rotation from Kuro from top to mid is very natural for him because he wants to check the 4-minute rune, and he just walks in. I'm not sure if he's trying to next level OPTIC here by pretending he warded. He didn't actually have a ward with him. Usually you do ward for that nighttime in the mid lane, but for now Kuro didn't have it on him, but imagine it's flying out soon for their courier. As for OPTIC, nobody actually has a mid ward right now, which should be really important. You want to control these runes when you're Tiny. You want to get this, for example, haste that CCNC has right now. One of the best heroes in the game to get a DD on.
Yeah, instead they got the ward down on bottom top lane. Harassment pretty heavily into Mind Control. He's got the Skeleton Walk, so backs off. They're looking towards Zai and Kuro. He wants to land the Frost Blast. Got it off cooldown right now. Pops it onto Zai, but Mind Control is the 5-minute bounty runes as well. Watch the players rotate off. They need to get as much of this as possible. That's why bottom lane, Matumba's already fighting with GH, harassing into Pycat and PPD. They'll pull the entire creep wave along with them. So it'll only be a 2-for-2 trade-off unless Pycat really wants to commit. That's why they shield him up. GH can't fight back. He doesn't have Shadow Realm available through the tree lines. Shikuchi comes off cooldown. GH has to pop the shrine. It's only just come up, and they have the damage. This should be the first blood. GH needs to duke it out. Bramble in 1 second time. No more stick charges available. Pycat claims the first blood on what has been a very denied offlane.
And they're going to retreat back and grab this second bounty rune, so it should be a 2-for-2 split, it looks like. And yeah, OPTIC probably looking pretty fine here right now. They have a relatively big lead in the mid lane in terms of experience. CCNC almost a full level ahead against Miracle. Obviously net worth super inflated. It is an Alchemist we're talking about. You do imagine that OPTIC will want to try to counter Miracle relatively soon, and that's a bit of a question mark for me with their draft. Like, who's actually going to go and pressure this Alchemist? Your support duo is a Bad and an Ire. So your cores, they have to
Bramble. Pycap, Nikan Shikuchi, he's got a couple of stick charges. Raindrops will come back up and protect him a little bit of time, and then Shikuchi through the trees. Needed to wait as long as he could, so he actually got the charge off. Now GH actually gets hit by the Swarm. That's enough to make him think twice about initiating. And Matumba wants to go in deep. PPD's really, really low. Can shield up. There's still 9 stick charges for Matumba, and GH with the attack. He waited perfectly until the shield exploded. And then hits with the Shadow Realm. And Liquid get on the board.
Dire's middle tower.
They do, and obviously, looking across these lanes, it is relatively even right now. So nobody in this game, this is something about Liquid that I feel like separates them from other teams when you look across their games. All of their players seem to have a really good ability to carry any given game if they're in the position that needs to do it. They don't have, it doesn't have to be Miracle winning the game for them. Some games Mind Control takes over, some games Matumba takes over, and it looks pretty healthy for them in this game because all 3 of their players are in a position where they can be aggressive come the 10 to 15 minute mark. Both the Clinkz, Wraith King, as well as the Alchemist will be online to be able to get some fighting going.
Yeah, especially if Alchemist can find a little bit of time just to go into those side camps. He's already got the double stack to work with. Zai in trouble, trying to retreat back up. So 33 had to land the Dragon Tail stun to stop Mind Control from beating into him, but Zai comes back in again. He's so low on life. 15 HP is still enough to survive. And they'll move over to claim that Dire Shrine inside the jungle.
It looks like Zai will take it alone. Obviously, 33 doesn't want to give up any experience.
He doesn't have Shadow Realm, and he'll be okay.
As the panel pointed out, though, the Swarm is a really nice skill to have against Dark Willow, especially in the, well, in all stages of the game, really, just to be that Pestilence, prevent Dark Willow from being as mobile.
Because it still attacks too through Shadow Realm, right?
I do believe that. I mean, it definitely sticks. I do think the attacks go through as well, so you can't blink, but I'm not 100% on that. But yeah, Dark Willow definitely cannot remove it, and that is a very big deal. I do think the attacks...
Yeah, I'm fairly certain.
Your guess is as good as mine.
I heard Fudger in the group stage, and he's always a good, reliable source.
Yeah.
But so far, like, even with this early advantage, like, you've got the Alchemist getting a lot of farm in, and he's a 4.8k net worth. That looks great. But OPTIC still have 3 players contesting that top net worth position, and it's only 1k advantage for Team Liquid 8 minutes in.
Radiant
Miracle does look very healthy,
Good
though.
scan.
He got out of this laning stage very well on the Alch. Had a bit of a hard time in the start, but he has the same CS.
CCNCs can just dive this anyway if he wants to. Zai can tether over. He just needs to find where Miracle is. Sees him in the tree line, but CCNC's Haste Room wears off at the wrong time for him.
Very good awareness.
Bottom lane, Matumba. Not level. Actually, he is level 6. Does not level up Reincarnation. He went 3-1-2. So no second life for him.
I think even if he had it there, he didn't have the mana. Yeah, nice kill. Grab for OPTIC. In the mid lane, CCNC putting some pressure onto Miracle, forcing out that Chemical Rage. So we'll give a short moment of opportunity to maybe try to go for a kill later on.
GH is looking to move up and change the balance of this top lane. Zai may not be ready for it. The Bramble throws down. Zai navigates it absolutely perfectly. CCNC's in name with the damage onto Zai will be enough. Mind Control finds the kill as the Clinkz with the Searing Arrow. And maybe now full retreat. With CCNC arriving in the lane. This is not where Liquid want to be, but they've managed to split all 3 ways, and they're back out to safety.
And in the meantime, this is a free mid lane for the Alchemist. Miracle very happy to see this rotation off from the Tiny. He's going to make the most of it, actually claiming half his tower already.
Oh, Zai tries to TP in to take the creep wave off the tower. And CCNC does return, so Alchemist is happy with this, back into jungle farming.
Pycat on Matumba bottom. Bounty runes are about to spawn, so both of them want to be in range to contest. Oh, Pycat misclicked! Oh, he wanted to grab the rune!
He's in real trouble! No. Without that rune, he can't!
Oh, that's a blunder. That is a blunder. That was 100% unintentional. Wanted to click the rune, ended up clicking the Wraith King. Does not have mana for time lapse. And Matumba grabbing a nice free kill for himself there. Those kills are big. It's core-on-core solo kill, so a lot of gold. He claims all of the kill gold as well as the AoE gold on that one, 355.
And now you're starting to really move up in the world of net worth. 3,000 the advantage for Team Liquid. More space for Matumba on bottom because everyone's gone. The rotation in towards mid to help out CCNC comes up for nothing. In fact, Miracle just farms the lane, then moves back to the jungle. And he's already got himself a double stack in there ready to farm up. This is very problematic for OPTIC.
this Alchemist last pick is working out very, very well for them. I imagine the way Liquid planned this when they went for this last pick was that they looked at, yes, we will be facing a Tiny. However, can they actually invade us very easily? Since none of the supports have significant damage or lockdown, they probably felt like even with a slightly losing lane matchup, Miracle will be free to farm for these next 5 minutes and get a lot of items. Who's going to gank him? Your Dragon Knight going to come over there? Maybe Tiny and Weaver together could combine, but...
They have the opportunity at least because he's going for a straight Radiance build. So that Radiance should be up by the 13-minute mark. Matumba in real trouble on bottom still. Doesn't level up that reincarnation. Now he does. He's got the mana available for it. And a pretty damn big army. They slow him down. Kuro will TP in over. Pinecap made his break to the tree line. And they've got help. CCNC is in the neighborhood. And now, well, with a Kuro Lich ulti bounces up to PPD. He will die as well. It reaches far enough. And with a Curse Crown, CCNC's having a hard time getting away from Matumba. Just slowed up. GH can no longer help. Pinecap was too much on him, so Ishikuchi's down the trees, but GH, he jukes it out, goes to the right side. Pinecap's still got another chance because the Swarm flies through. It doesn't latch on GH, however, so Ishikuchi's down. There's a Curse Crown to keep the stun going. Pinecap time lapses off before the damage can arrive, and with the Bedlam out from GH, Pinecap just has to Ishikuchi himself away to the other side of the creep wave to safety. Maybe not all the way. Natama wants to hit him a couple of times, but he is in relative safety. Maybe with CCNC arriving, Avalanche is going to arrive with the top, Pinecap and PPD. All three combine together to bring down Matumba.
But look at the space.
12-minute
Radiance.
He relocated in behind, almost at the tier 2 tower, looking for the retreating GH.
OPTIC need to... They just need to up the pace here. They can't keep playing at this pace. Miracle's getting way too much. You see him already showing up with this Radiance. This has got to be... There's also the mental aspect of this, right? You're playing on a big stage. You're playing an important game, and you see a 12-minute Radiance on Alchemist.
Yeah.
You need to start game planning now. Like, okay, this is a problem. Like, what is our solution? And I think if you just play slow, go for a couple of lane picks here and there, and just let Miracle farm, this game only ends one way. Alchemist has played so many games like this. And you look at the late game counters, which is another thing. Like sometimes, yeah, you can give Alchemist a bit of space. You know, it's all right. We've got some of those late game carries that are really good against Alchemist. And this game is like nobody who's going to kill this guy.
Yeah. If they had that late game edge, then yeah, maybe this would be a better position. They could just continue to do what they're doing, which is hunt everybody else. Zai's in trouble. Just came up for a little bit of a ward mission. And Matumba as well as GH just lock in control. PPD, tether away. Zai wants to survive. The Curse Crown's still going to connect. And Kuro will pop him. Just letting that Chain Frost go, very liberal with it. Matumba's not done. Blinks forward towards Abaddon, but he's done. Borrowed time is available for Abaddon.
He was hoping to proc that, but just didn't get under the damage threshold of 400, so TPD will have that available. I believe we're looking at a smoke here, I think. They want to go and make a move on the Alchemists.
Exactly what's happening.
They can't keep waiting. They do have a good aggressive ward, so this is the Weaver as well as Tiny combining. You know what? I'm not...
Is this enough?
That's what I'm wondering. He has stick charges, he has strength treads on.
They don't even have a slow, they don't have a control. It's like CCNC has hit the Avalanche and toss Miracle. He stuck around long enough to actually come in range of that high ground, but Chemical Rage starts to wear off, but GH and Kuro nearby. They're there to support him. PPD caught inside the bramble, but he'll be fine. 33, he's actually hiding in the middle of like the entire lane. As Mind Control and Matumba were looking for a kill on him, but that early
I don't
Shadow Amulet's going to allow him to survive, and yeah, that wasn't intentional.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I don't think Liquid saw it, but if they did, PPD is a very easy grab right now for 50 seconds. No borrowed time on him.
33's TP down to the bottom lane. OPTIC want to change the point of attack. They want to try and find Matumba, and man, he blinks over the swarm. Pycat saw him go. They'll create a small little army. But with the Dragon Form 33 arriving on bottom lane, this is now tower taking time. This is going to restrict the map of Team Liquid. But that's why they look for the rebuttal. They've got Clinks, the king of killing tier 1 towers.
Yeah, Mind Control's just having a blast, honestly. He hasn't really had to move much.
He's got a higher net worth than any of the OPTIC players.
Matumba went for the bounty rune. This is going to cost him.
Pick him up, throw him down. Matumba did not have reincarnation mana. It was off cooldown.
Yeah, I think he purposefully didn't get enough mana there. He could have sticked to have it, but he didn't want to die twice. So now he at least has his ultimate when he comes alive. He knew he was way out of position there. Getting the bounty rune is still a huge win, though. He is on the Alchemist team, so even sacrificing a core to get a bounty rune or two can be worth it.
33 is using the end of his Dragon Form to try and force in the mid lane, but CCNC attacked up by GH with the Bedlam. He'll go back in towards Roshan. Thinks about the Terrorize, but he's buying time. Alchemist, Concoction, doesn't want it. Actually blinks away. before throwing him. I mean, CCNC. Oh no! He thought GH was going to walk up the ramp.
Dire structures are fortified.
Oops. Mid lane pressure. Acid Spray will slow this down. Fortification going to do the same type of thing. Kuro, the Chain Frost, it bounces out. And it just continues to work with the catapult against CNC. But he's tanky enough, is he? Not for Concoction. Zaya's doing the best he can to keep him alive. But now gets caught in the bramble. It caught 2 heroes. Now the TP out from 33. He'll have the time because there's no more stuns available. So Tiny as well as Io will pop, borrowed time. PPD's got it. 2 seconds until shield's up. And he doesn't have that time. Pycat does the best he can to keep the mid lane continuously pushing in towards that tier 1 tower. 68 HP, that's worth a denial.
I love this build from Miracle, by the way. We haven't really talked about this Blink Dagger on Alchemist. You did point out he blinked backwards once. Most of the time when Alchemist has a good start, we see them going for this very snowbally approach where you get the Radiance, then you get your next item such as Manta. But in this case, going for the dagger, realizing, well, I'm actually strong enough to just win fights, so why wait?
33 found the perfect target. GH was just sitting in the tree lines. It's only a level 1 Dragon Tail stun, but it was enough. Pops the Dragon Form and ensures the kill.
And it's at this point you look to OPTIC and you look at, okay, what's our solution for Alchemist? Can anybody get a Spirit Vessel here? Io has the urn, but looks to be planning for a Glimmer Cape. And the problem that I still see is Liquid will have these tanky cores, Alchemist, Wraith King, and even the Clinks with Death Pact. All of them will have Ice Armor. In the OPTIC Gaming lineup, do they have the oomph to get anyone down? Well, maybe not.
Try it now. The Observer Ward saw Miracle, and with the Swarm on top of him, Miracle's losing armor real quick. Puts down the Acid Spray, but they bring down the Beast.
Biggest kill on the map. Alchemist is top net worth. He's on the leading team. And these kills are worth so much money. How much did they get for that kill?
537 gold into Zai.
Yeah, they got 1,000 in total, and Miracle lost 400. So that's a 1,500 gold swing, just that one kill. And you want to look for that Alchemist. It's the Diffusal reveal from the Weaver that gets the job done.
GH and Mind Control looking to wrap around the bottom. They don't have Bramble available at the moment, so finding a kill is difficult, and you're fairly certain Zai wants to do a relocate gank onto somebody. But the only place they really have to go is potentially top lane.
Yep. Mid tower is already claimed, bottom is claimed, so OPTIC need to find their next objective. They found it.
Mind Control, they're still relocating into the tree lines, actually cancels it. Zai does not want to bring everybody in, and with that Pycat, he can time lapse. PPD freed him from the GH curse, but then PPD, how many times can he bounce his way? So unlucky, but he still wants to try and fight it off. He doesn't have the borrow time available, so PPD will end up falling, but Pycat's the bigger one. Chikuchi up, he's still dusted, but he'll get up the hill and far away. So PPD, we know the 5 positions have it hard, but that is just brutal.
That was pretty funny. I think that was 4 bounces in a row where there was 1 or 2 secondary targets that could have hit instead, but kept jumping to him. I mean, in a way, maybe he was happy with it. You know, I'm in on my ulti, so I'm getting healed from it, but the slow stacking is really, really a problem.
Yeah, but he did his job, right? He saved the Weaver from Terrorize.
Did the right thing, for sure.
Yeah. Big pickup and a big reason, too, why you want to have that Abaddon. It's that saving grace. Like, we've seen a couple of Oracles appearing, but OPTIC Shield makes it very difficult for Liquid just to focus that target with disables and just pop them. But they're still looking very good, Team Liquid. 9,000 gold advantage. The Manta Sound just got completed over a Miracle. OPTIC Gaming need to... You said amp up the tempo. It's still... Can they amp harder?
Well, I'm looking for Miracle to amp up the GPM. My prediction was 1k plus GPM.
That'll be good.
That still hasn't been done, I think.
No, it hasn't. Right, the entire group stage, it hasn't.
He's on the way. 815 GPM on this Alchemist right now. Bounty runes are about to spawn, and OPTIC in a good position here to claim at least 2 of them.
Oh, Mind Control is ready to fight on bottom lane, but Tumbakura, GH, they're all coming in. The bottom tower should be taken. They see 33 over in the tree lines. He'll need a Shadow Blade right now if he's going to survive, and he is invis. They'll reveal him with the dust. PPD is turning around. OPTIC Shield gives him a little bit more life to begin with. They get hit by the Bramble 2 times over, and that's already triggered his borrowed time, so DK will fall. Abaddon will follow through. And Team Liquid, tier 2 tower is gone. And maybe more. Zai so low on life. The Radiance Burn got him. The Acid Spray was ticking it. And Miracle just walks by and gets a drive-by kill onto the Zai.
That Alchemist taunt.
That's a lot of weight to move from foot to foot.
He makes it look easy, and then he makes it look easy.
And now they're going to go for Roshan 20 minutes in. It's not like Miracle's got enough money already. He's already staring down the barrel of an Assault Cuirass.
Yep. What's the GPM at now? 837, so gone up 20 since we last looked at it. What OPTIC did manage to do there was at least to grab 3 bounty runes. It's really important against this Alchemist to grab these runes. Things could be looking a lot worse right now. They did also get the tower.
Going up, Matumberman with this diffuser blade over on the Weaver. Matumberman getting this ulti off is just impossible. So when they can isolate him like this, OPTIC know they have the kill. The cost is, of course, the Aegis to the Immortal, and it is on Miracle.
And it did seem like Liquid planted him down there as a distraction.
Oh, mind control. Triggers up PPD's ulti again. CCNC's nearby. Avalanche toss. He's finally going to try and get rid of Kuro. No, he can't. The raindrop protecting Kuro so well. So CCNC, he can't finish the jump. He's tiptoeing around the bramble. He wants to go again. Blinks off cooldown in 4 seconds time. They don't know Kuro's in the tree lines, but now they know where mind control is. Dragon Tail stuns up from 33. He came under the cover of Invis. Pycast there too. With the Sentry Wars down, there's nowhere for Clinks to really run off to. Or is there? He's still got the swarm on him in mind control. He's actually got the distance. He's got the speed. And he's away.
Only Sentry's on PPD in that situation, and that doesn't cut it for that kill. And you know what, Toby?
What?
Space for Miracle. He's just farming. He's up to 870 now.
Let me
keep the tally going.
My space created. Copy-paste binds.
Yep, pretty much.
And Miracle has practically got the AC.
Yep. He's getting really, really big here.
And BKB will be coming in soon for 33. He needs a little bit more time to farm this one up. I don't know if they can really keep up with the other cores, however.
Yeah, Pycat is closing in on his too. I think it's a good approach here. OPTIC need 2 things. They need BKB so that they can stay alive in the fight against all this magic damage and focus fire. And then they need a solution for Optimus. These are the 2 things they need.
Pycat staying nearby for the tether, but it will not happen. They have more than enough control through just Matumberman. They didn't even need anything else for that. And now they find 33. Climbing up Ancients, Kuro will slow him down the Frost Blast. They Sentry and Observer, and 33, the TP out. Perfect way to play it. There is no more stuns available.
Chain Frost? The sound is nice. It follows all over.
Is under attack.
Tanked like a bounce. Tier 1 towers now going to be brought down. Liquid, they're ready for this push. The Assault Cuirass has just arrived. So, yep, 23 minutes in, 20,000 net worth. Normally it's pretty good when a team can go with that kind of net worth per minute, but having the Alchemist this big, these BKBs will allow OPTIC to survive, but it will not allow them to kill. And they're TPing over. The Dire scanning up. Pycat wanted to know it was going to be safe, trying to get into the back lines. As the front lines attack, the swarm is really good. Hits mind control, hits Kuro, and that's why CCNC focused and concocted stuff into the rear. They're looking for the kill onto Zai, able to claim it, so there goes the medic. And then reincarnation. Wraith King gets back to the world of the living, the Bramble. It won't catch anyone from OPTIC, neither does it terrorize. 2 huge whiffs, and OPTIC have an opportunity with these control factors gone and Chemical Rage timing out. OPTIC will look to turn this. They've already managed to nuke down GH. CCNC sacrificing himself to do this. With none of that burst damage, OPTIC just have to stay inside their base and fight illusions. They can't even fight the real stuff.
And you still have the second life on Miracle in this situation. The Aegis wasn't burnt. Still, that's the kind of fight that we're looking for from OPTIC, right? They activate this BKB on the Weaver. The Dragon Knight will have one relatively soon. And, well, it looks like Zai is indeed working on that Spirit Vessel. However, he has to play around a couple of additional problems right now with both the Man Style and the Aegis. It's a step in the right direction. OPTIC, they have to just hold on and try to get the items that can bring him down.
He's got the Vision, the Observer, and Sentry, but it's kind of the worst target for him because he can't instantly kill it off, and they really would have preferred the DK. But PPD, 8th death in this game. He is half of Team Liquid's kills.
Did you see how fast he died to the Clinks there? That's some serious minus armor stacking. The AC, Clinks has Deso. I'm not sure if PPD wasn't an Acid Spray as well at the time, but you add those up, it's like minus 15 armor. But what armor do they even have on their side? It takes away pretty much all of Tiny and Reaver's armor.
Miracle, Gunamanda, try and actually, well, use the illusions to get rid of the bug as quick as he can.
Liquid got 3 runes.
Yeah.
Toby, you gotta keep your eyes on it, man. That 1,000.
My eyes are watching.
We're almost there.
I'm watching mid lane. Zai comes in. He's trying to think he's under the cover of Glimmercape, but the Sentry Ward was already down from Liquid, and it is the ultimate trap. Mind Control and Miracle combo with the rest of Liquid. 5 heroes mid, ready to push.
holding this without Dragon Knight is really difficult. He's going to have to buy back if they want to try to defend these middle barracks. They might just be giving them away. Dragon Knight buying back when he's this close to BKB is really, really annoying.
Miracle's hunting for another kill. PPD, is this going to be your 9th death of the game? Technically, it'll be the 11th. 2 of them were on his terms. Miracle, Chemical Rage. He's trying to taunt his way out. There's only got another 2-3 seconds left on it. So he'll run back out through the mid. The tower is gone, so they can attack into the shrines if they want to. As the top's back, they're getting Miracle in real deep. The drop is perfect. And without the Aegis Immortal, with it being timed out, Miracle can be brought down. Matumba's trying to help him out by coming in closer. The Pycat runs through him. A huge kill. 703 gold worth of a kill. And they're charging forward. CCNC with a stun. Wraith King, he's got 21 charges. Does he want to burn it? Does he want to try and come back to the world of the living? Maybe not, because 33 can't even run away. He'll dodge the stun into the Shadow Realm, and he did actually burn the reincarnation. So Mind Control turns around, trying to take the fight. Zai, oh my god, this is not what he wants to be in. And Mind Control, he's got himself a double kill. Miracle opened up.
Beautiful
and just
bait.
brought down Pycat. You thought it was OPTIC's fight for a moment.
Beautiful bait. He buys back, has the Boots of Travel, comes in. They overcommit on Matumba, man. And with these 2 heroes dead, Weaver has to buy back to try and defend this. And Miracle feels pretty good about buying back here. In case he does die somehow, what are the odds that OPTIC can get down a lane and actually start dealing structural damage with Liquid having this much map control at this moment in time?
Not a lot, and they still need to have the sustain to come in from Zai, but Mind Control has just been given one task, make Zai's life a living hell. Both of these supports, you actually see how much they've been focused. 8 deaths on Zai, it's 9 deaths on PPD. They're not even worrying about the cause, they're worrying about the sustain that OPTIC can give their cause. Delete this, then the cause are an easy thing. So we get to see that one moment again as Miracle happy just to beat down through the melee racks, and this toss back actually put him in a real rough position as the Aegis timed out.
This is pretty much perfect what OPTIC did there. They could not have made a better play than this exact one, tossing the Alchemist as Aegis expires. And still, again, there's so much in the bank. Liquid have so much leeway because of the huge advantage that they have, and Miracle with a great planned play. They had a lot of time to plan this as well, Liquid. Keep it in mind, that kill on the Wraith King took so long that they could communicate, all right, if they overcommit, I can buy back and come
it's a
back
bait. It's an ultimate bait. It's just the illusion. Now the real team of Team Liquid come through. 33. He did break the smoke almost instantly, thanks to the fact that he was there.
Miracle,
but they're jumping over Miracle. He jumps in close, but then the space created with Terrorize and Chain Frost. All the damage that Team Liquid need to win this fight. Pycat 33. They just don't have the extra teammates. Pycat, he wants this kill, but he can't even claim Miracle. Denied. Pycat into the trees. They'll get the stun out. And OPTIC, they're all dead. Tribute LD.
It takes some confidence to go in there as Alchemist without ulti. You really need to trust in your team. No!
They call it
984.
They call it. He's so close to getting it, but it won't happen. But Team Liquid have it. Game 1 against OPTIC Gaming. It looked close, it looked good, but this Alchemist was a ticking time bomb that exploded on OPTIC.
They took so much advantage of that last pick and found a beautiful solution to this game, and something that we've seen from Liquid a lot, how well they play around each other. There's these 2 moments, really, in the end as well, right? The one is Miracle buys back, comes in, Matumba is baiting. This last fight, Miracle's baiting, Matumba Man comes in. They just play around each other really nicely. I look at this Alchemist, I'm like, you're choosing to take a team fight without Chemical Rage right now?
Yeah.
Didn't matter. They're too far ahead. They're confident, they know what to do.
He was so far ahead of that. And the amount of damage, like Miracle did 21,000 damage in that game. But it's the fact that he almost hit 300 CS, 980 GPM. Like, they killed him a couple of times when they managed to isolate him, but then everyone else got space. It's like Liquid. There's just so many problems. They have to try and find a problem. OPTIC, Game 2, cannot wait for it.
Thank you very much, Toby One and Syndrome with the opening game of our best of 3. The players will be taking a break, of course, and we'll catch up with our panel members to find out their thoughts. We'll also bring in a few of the other members of our broadcast team as well. Gents, I hate to say it, but it was kind of straightforward for Liquid.
Yeah, quite a good last pick Alchemist, and it was pretty clever the way they ended up adjusting to the lanes. They end up they don't care where their Clinks kind of goes. That's the thing about Liquid that's really scary. A lot of teams have been doing it, but just the adaptation. You see this certain thing happen, you're like, oh, we don't really want our Clinks to get pressured because of this dual lane. Let's switch it up, and it seemed like they were able to put their own pressure, and this was what gave Alchemist, Miracle, all that space to just farm up.
Yeah, Gods, your highlights from that game?
It really does. A lot goes back to the draft. The fact they recognize it's such a good out draft, like the viewers at home. What makes it a good out game is the fact they have these two supports. Io, Abaddon, they don't do anything. 5-position Abba, very static, sit in lane, use your missed call, use your shield, and then their other cores in the side lanes don't rotate as well. So Alk has a pure 1v1 mid with an okay matchup, and he doesn't get contested in his jungle. You've got to be able to contest Alk's jungle if you want to shut him down.
And they don't even have, like, after the laning phase, you look at their heroes, they don't really have the heroes to burst down an Alchemist, right? Ideally, you want either control or heavy burst damage to actually kill that hero. But looking at them, their supports are Io and Abba. Like you said, they don't really have the control. It's like a DK stun, and they have to kill him with a DK stun or an Abba toss.
Yeah, but it was also the perfect setup from Liquid, I think. The Lich into the Alchemist, actually it makes Alchemist almost impossible to kill, because the only problem he has really is an armor issue. But as soon as you're Frost Armor, you don't have that anymore. They tried to kill him in the jungle, they couldn't even bring him down below half health.
I think he's
because of Frost Armor.
I'm getting this distinct impression that he's just actually a Lich fanboy. Why don't we bring a couple of members of our broadcast team in we haven't spoken to just yet and visit the regional corner with Machine and his +1.
Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate that. Anyway, I do have Grant. Yes, it's back the corner. Previously, it was myself and Jack hanging out. And now, actually, we get to get more insight from experts of their respective regions. North America's up first. OPTIC are up first. And I want to try and understand, of course, they're going to try and stay cool, calm, and collected. And I want to understand a little bit more about OPTIC Gaming. I mean, first thing that kind of stands out to me is, just last year, I was doing a group stage panel with PyCat and CCNC. Look at them now.
Yep, they're moving up. I went out to dinner with them. I asked them, like, so how did you guys, like, how did you just make a team? And they both started telling, like, these bogus stories that clearly weren't right. So I listened to them one-on-one. Yeah. And from what I put together is Peter went into the talent room. He said, hello. Quinn shyly said hi. Yep. And then Peter slid right into the DMs, and next month, they had a team.
As easy as that?
As easy as that.
Now, I want to understand, just a bit of a personal opinion here. Did you expect to see CCNC climb so high so fast? He's in an upper bracket game at TI.
Yep. I didn't think to see him climb that high, but everyone said, like, him and his teammate 747 back in the day, they just played 1v1. Arteezy as well. They all just triangle 1v1, 1v1. Now he's at TI, one of the younger ones, and he's done amazingly.
And so has North American Dota. My last question to you before I throw it back to Paul, but, you know, NA Dota seems to be just kind of slapping down the gauntlet here at TI.
Yeah. They picked it up finally.
You saw it coming?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it coming. I think everyone else at home saw it coming as well, but me more so. And, I mean, they've moved up. It's looking rough after game 1 for OPTIC, but hey, you never know. Peter probably has something.
Yeah, maybe he'll pull something out from his green skirt. Either way, let's go ahead and head back over to that gorgeous panel with the daddy of Dota.
Thank you very much. What? The Nahas isn't here, though. However, we do have these three, but maybe, gents, by the way, you just need to hang out in the talent a bit more. Right? And then eventually someone will DM you and you could be playing here at TI United next year.
I think I remember Peter walking right by me.
Right. Did he not? He didn't slide into your DMs. That's not what's right. However, we do have some more content coming your way. Now, I particularly love the stuff that Valve and the guys here that put all the show together, put these pieces together about all the teams. And we've got one for you now. And who better to start with than the defending champions of Team Liquid?
A little bit closer to me. Yeah, perfect. So what do you guys like most about your team?
I don't like my team, honestly. I'm just here for the sake of winning. That's it. I don't like them.
I see his point, but what I
like I said many times, it's like a family.
You need to give me a beer. I'm the captain here.
So yeah, I think friendship matters in the team.
Take it easy on the boat.
Definitely having a good personal relationship is important. If, for example, we didn't like each other, playing, like, you know, getting up in the morning and spending time playing scrims or even tournaments would feel like work.
Yeah, they're great players. Well, actually, they make it not so hard for me. They're good guys.
Whenever I'm away from home and I come and spend time with these guys, it doesn't feel that much different. I feel like I'm still at home.
Touching, man. That was touching. Touching moment.
Our goal wasn't to just win one TI. We wanted to be the best team in the world. To become the best team, you have to stay in top form.
Basically, we just played a lot of tournaments. We had our ups and downs.
There were some bad conditions in the first tournaments for us. Like,
preparation-wise. Of course, I think that playing all the tournaments possible, it's the best practice you can have.
We have the best captain in the world, Kuroki, so it's easy to overcome those things with Kuro.
I concur.
That was definitely one of our line of thinkings, that the tournament itself serves as practice. At the end of the day, I hope it serves us to do well in TI8. It's a lot of experience we gathered as a team.
For us, it's just self-reflection. After that tournament, you should just self-reflect and see what you can do better and maybe lower your egos, because people are getting better. You have to adapt to them and respect what they do and watch them, because they're trying to get to you. If you're the best, it's like the people are coming for you.
Quite recently, we're getting back in the zone. We're preparing for our next coming event, which is TI in Vancouver.
Winning TI7 and going to TI8, I feel like there's no really pressure on us to win this event. Of course, it will be written in the books if we were to win 2 consecutive TIs, but for us, we don't really think about that.
I feel like if we win again, I might be a bit more connected with my inner emotions. I will know what I'm actually feeling. So, because the first time it was all over the place, I had no idea what kind of feelings that were. I actually can't. Like, try imagining a new color. That's the emotion I actually felt.
What? If you stress too much about the winning, you won't win. That's just how we feel. So we just try to play and enjoy ourselves.
Of course, we want to do well. Like we want to win. We go there because we really want to win. At the end of the day, but if we put expectations on ourselves, maybe it's gonna hurt us more than anything.
I actually feel like I want to win this one more than the other one.
Why?
Because it feels like defending our title could be something really cool. I never had any title to defend, so this is the first one. And I feel like...
Why are you holding my hand?
Because it's the mic.
Alright, just go.
And I feel like defending our title would be such an accomplishment that I will remember for the rest of my life.
I'm back to you guys.
Fantastic stuff. What's not to like about them? Defending champions, all-round good guys as well. I think, though, my job is safe for now with that mic control. Someone who is very good with their mic, however, is Mrs. Casey, who is out amongst the fans, I believe. What are you up to right now, Casey?
I have met some people for whom this is their very first TI. You guys excited? Yeah! Tell everyone where you're from.
We're from Montreal.
Montreal?
Yeah.
And what do you think so far?
Really nice. It's a really great experience, and I really like this first game with the double deny from Abaddon. Yeah. It was epic.
I understand, though, that you're all rooting for different teams. Is this going to break your friendship?
Yeah, of course.
I appreciate your honesty. All right, you're rooting for who?
I'm rooting for Fnatic.
OG.
I'm for Liquid, yeah.
Yeah, OG.
EG.
Oh, snap. You said you would sing with me.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, of course.
And dance?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah! I like it
like that. That was way better than I thought it was going to be. See, this is the best part of TI. Even for those of you watching at home, there are so many people who are experiencing it for the first time. So we like your enthusiasm, right, everyone? Come on. Back to you, Paul.
All right, thank you very much. Keep up the good work. Keep finding fun people. It's good stuff. Right then, we're going to get back to some serious stuff in a minute. Just waiting for the players to come back out onto the main stage here at TI gives us an opportunity to look forward to that second game. OPTIC have got a bit of work to do here.
Yeah, I think overall adjustments. Parker actually brought it up to us in the backstage. He's looking and he was like, wow, they didn't really draft your traditional 5 support. Yeah. Right, so I think that's probably one of the things I'd want to look forward and just overall more team fight, more synergy with their draft. It felt a little bit strange from what I've seen from OPTIC in the last.
Are you surprised by that, Gods? Do you not feel like they found what worked for them by now?
I think they definitely have an idea, and they came into this with a draft in mind that was going to work for them and cause Liquid some problems. Particularly, Abaddon is a 5, not saying you normally verse. So, yeah, clear idea. The problem was the X Factor, the 10th pick, the miracle pick. And when it comes to the draft between the two teams, it doesn't matter what happens in those side lanes when you have an Alchemist mid. 9 times out of 10, you win 2 side lanes, you can win the game off of, but the exception is when there's something like an Alchemist there.
Teams heading back to their booths. Right now we'll give them a few more minutes to settle in and get ready for game number 2. A game which Optic Gaming have to win now if they want to take this to a 3rd game and stay alive in the upper bracket. Of course, Liquid looking to make sure they make their way through to the semi-finals. No mistakes this year, Black. That's what a lot of Liquid fans have been saying. We don't want any mistakes. We don't want to underestimate anyone. We don't want to fall into that lower bracket and have to go all the way back through again for a 2nd year in a row.
Yeah, I mean, overconfidence is what kills champions, and I mean, you just saw the like player interview or like this like piece, and they seem completely relaxed. And I mean, they're confident, but they're definitely not overconfident. They're taking everyone seriously, and I mean, you can tell just by how they're acting.
Yeah, I mean, you hang out with GH, he's kind of infectious like that, isn't he? I mean, he brings the best out of Miracles. They're having a lot of fun on that boat.
He is in so many ways the perfect teammate. It's just crazy how good he is for Liquid, how good he could be for any professional Dota team out there. He's just a fantastic guy.
Yeah. I remember when they first, we had a couple tournaments, I think, when they had, I think it was with Boba, right? When they were playing with him before they grabbed GH. And I would see the team like talking and everything, and you know, they were kind of quiet guys, some kind of shyness coming out. Then we did the DreamHack tournament, and they come up, you know, they win the tournament, and they come both of them on the panel together, and I was like, these two just seem like kind of like this brotherly relationship.
They have definitely broed, haven't they? They've definitely got a bromance going on there. That's
it was adorable. It was really good.
If Dota doesn't work out for them, they've got a future making like a comedy show thing. Yeah, I want to see a Miracle and GH comedy show.
I would totally tune into that. That'd be brilliant. On the serious side of things, what do you want to see from Optic, though? Do you want to see them go back to what they're good at, what they showed in some of the groups? So those late 5 games that we talked about on the final day of the groups, they looked like they'd figured the meta out. They figured out what was good for them. They didn't care what the other team picked. They were going to pick what they needed to pick.
It kind of feels like they kind of shot themselves in the foot last game with the draft. It's not a very conventional draft. It's probably something they played before, but have they showed us in the tournament anything like this? No, right?
No, I mean, there's only been one Abaddon pick in the entire tournament before that.
I mean, they usually have like a very hard 5, right, for Peter?
Yep.
And this was like the first time they didn't, and it looked quite like, it didn't really look as structured as it used to, I think. So that's, I think, the biggest problem they've had this game. They just need to go back to what they're really good at, and then they will take the fight to Liquid.
I mean, talk about PPD, it's famous for his Bane, 128 games on Bane professionally, 4 in the group stage already. That seemed to be kind of his staple. He'll go back to that when we need it. It's kind of good for everything. Doesn't really affect the draft too much. Just something he can sit on and dictate the play of the game.
Yeah, I think that's a great adjustment. Just getting Peter on that harder 5, harder just full support hero that isn't a melee hero, because that also makes it a little harder. Unless it's Tree. I think Tree might be the
or Undying.
Or Undying. But also, I think 33 is the X factor, because sure, he's an outstanding player, but putting him on a DK, I want to see him playing something
else. You feel that stunts him? It doesn't allow him to go out and be expressive and do the things, dictate the play that they need?
I feel it just took I've seen him play that type of hero before, but I like seeing him on something that can really just take the space if he needs to, and he'll be the space maker. That hero is more so just, all right, I'm going to group up with my team and make some stuff happen, rather than like an Enigma who's just going to dominate and make some flashy plays.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because his hero picks so far, Gods, they've been a bit weird. Nature's Prophet 3 times, 3 on Ursa, 2 on Mirana, 2 on Enigma. And then obviously now 2 on Dragon Knight as well. That's not what we're used to from him, is it?
Yeah, a lot of his old cheesier picks, as people would say, kind of fallen out, like the Visage, the Lycan. I actually think Lycan's a hero they should consider in Game 2, because for me, I think Optic are a bit outclassed. Liquid, returning TI champions, they've got more experience to me. They're just a bit higher skilled in certain roles, and I think if you want to beat them, you have to outdraft them. You have to do something to catch them by surprise, which is what they're trying to do in Game 1. The problem is sometimes you go for those crazy drafts, it backfires, you have this Abaddon, it doesn't work out. They need to try that again. They need to pick out like a first 2 Brood. They need to do something, a Lycan draft. I don't think they can beat Liquid playing a straight-up game.
Black, agree, disagree?
Yeah, I mean, I told you I'm the certified Liquid fanboy, so I don't think
Well, you're a certified Liquid fanboy and a certified Lich fanboy. We've already established that today.
I always tell you, man, Lich anti-mage middle is
you had to get the AM in there somehow, didn't you? This was always going to come back to farming, wasn't it?
Anytime I hear this man talk about Lich, it's not about Lich. He's like, you know now, because anti-mage got a turn rate buff, you can actually get an extra attack. And I'm like, how does he always just bring it back to anti-mage?
The legend that is the AM player in the team as well. Gods, what do you want to see in this second draft from Optic?
Yeah, something cheesier.
Maybe a Brood.
33. I think the Lycan is being underpicked here. If you can get like a 4th, 5th pick Lycan. We saw a few of these teams in one of the elimination matches. Serenity busted out, so I would love to see something like that. Other than that, pick strong lanes and just try and outplay Liquid.
All right, let's get into it. Game number 2, ladies and gentlemen.
10 seconds remaining. Optic Gaming's turn to bat.
Team Liquid versus OPTIC Gaming. Game 2.
After number 2 as well is upon us. What can OPTIC serve up in game number 2? They do need to win this one, of course. As a reminder for you at home, it is a best of 3. Liquid 1 game away from making the semi-finals of the upper bracket and guaranteeing themselves a top 6 finish. Long way to go for them still, however, and we will get into this draft momentarily.
I wonder what adjustments will come out from the first pick too, right? Because the IO is given up. Do they change that around? Do they just go for prioritizing banning that one?
In some ways, I wonder if Liquid's even happy keeping that second pick so they can have the last pick of the draft. It didn't seem like they were two-phased giving OPTIC first pick. They did ban Ench for the first time in the tournament, but I think that's just them saying, hey, Ench is actually probably one of the most OP heroes in Dota right now.
I saw... I think this was in like the first 2 days of the group stages, but I remember we were doing Vici Storm and we're like looking at all the games and we're like, Vici Storm, they were second pick every single game that they won. Their first 5 games in a row that they won, they were second pick, and then the first game right away when they lost, they were actually first pick. So I think the second pick really does put a bit of a factor into it.
I mean, it suits a team like that, right? Because you have the resolution. It's like also like 10th pick monster.
Yeah.
You have this miracle, this 10th pick monster. If you have these 10th pick monsters in your team, it really makes sense to get the second pick if you're not really scared of anything.
Yeah. We spoke about the Venge, obviously, at the very beginning of the day. It is a very popular pick for both teams, and Liquid in particular. Venge has been picked 5 times by GH, 4 by Kuro in their 16 games of the group stages, so they can mix this up a little bit.
It is an insane hero, actually, now. Like, not only can you save your core, you can also amplify his damage output, and whenever your farmed core dies, he actually hits the hero for what, 5 seconds? 6 seconds?
It's a long time, and it gives vision too, and it's very, it's super fast, the little illusion that chases you. It's
How much damage does it deal? 100%?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So this looks like it's going to be a 33 early pick.
33 profit, most likely. Zai Tiny, I would guess.
They've played it 3 different ways. They've also played CC, and C has also played it as well.
There it is. Wow,
there's the Brood. Yeah, I mean, we talked about, are we going to get early cheese?
A Brood into a Tiny is quite brave, though.
Yeah, but I think it's also into the Nature's Prophet as well, right? Like Brood versus Furion, or versus Nature's Prophet is really tough versus for the Furion.
And Brood Venge together is really good.
Yeah.
PPD's seen that coming, surely.
But I'd probably consider it. I think this is one way you can play when you're first pick, rather than play around that 10th pick of the draft where you win the game with that. Your second pick, you can pick a hero like Brood and then ban out the counters. And then it's a lot easier to kind of get this really strong pick early on, and it doesn't get banned out.
And then you're not getting telegraphed either with the bans, because obviously I think there are some specific bans when you ban them. It's kind of the other thing goes, oh, they want the Brood last pick, we'll just ban it last.
Has Liquid put it in the safe lane at all, or has it just been ran mid by Matu? Just mid, right?
I'm sure they can, but I think it was just mid this tournament,
Yeah, I think they haven't. They've played it 4 times, all with Matumbaman.
On mid lane, right?
On mid lane, though.
Yes.
I think so, yeah. So I think one of the heroes...
I didn't see all of his games, but I believe so.
But it's so hard to shut down mid Brood, though. Like, even if you counter him, he will just out-farm you.
I noticed a few that were, at least in the group stages, that I thought were a little closer, but I remembered back to Summit where I saw the Monkey King versus the Brood. I think that's one matchup of his in the mid lane that's dominant, and then the Kunkka. The Kunkka is actually insane versus the Brood.
Have you... we saw a lot of Timber as well in the past.
I mean, Timber's just a...
I know it's a little bit out of the meta right now, isn't it? But it does provide some of the tools, doesn't it?
It's hard because the Brood just avoids you. Like, he'll farm behind your tower, he farms your Ancients. Ancients still give a lot of gold, unlike the rest of the neuts, so that's kind of where Brood's big edge is.
And you get to a point where, like, Brood will just farm to the late game, and then you have a Timber in late game versus this heavy-hitting Brood that doesn't really care so much anymore.
Ban out the partner, instantly take up the Necrophos. Of course, Liquid loves to play the offlane partner on mind control. So a very good ban there. I mean, it's not super strong against either of the 2 heroes they have right now, because a lot of the Broods actually go into a lot of survivability now.
Yeah, Necro's been super popular here. Combined 135 picks and bans on this hero during this event. 91% of all games have featured Necro in some form.
What about his win rate, though?
His win rate is 47.5 off 40 games, which isn't great, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, it's a good.
Yeah. It's one of those heroes that every team's been picking and playing, even some of the weaker teams of the tournament, so it sounds about right.
I wonder if Liquid's looking at something like the Bat Rider here, because it's amazing versus Necro, and it's so good versus Nature's Prophet in the overall grand scheme of the game.
But so is Earth Spirit.
So is Earth Spirit.
Instant silence, that stun.
Yeah.
Very good to pressure the Necrophos.
Started creeping back in as well.
It's also a ganking here. When you have this brute mid, if you can get a rotation when you get that big spiraling army up, you get to get free kills.
Yeah,
like,
free kill and free tower probably too.
Yeah.
I'm still really liking. I was thinking Nyx Assassin or Earth Spirit there for GH, and then I think the Bat Rider still for the offlaner could be really, really strong for them though.
For OPTIC though, I think they should or kind of have to put Tiny middle now. He's not really afraid of the Brute at all, and you can't really rotate on him with an Earth Spirit either. So I think the Tiny mid should be quite locked until unless they want to counter pick it with another hero.
What do you think about them saving their supports then for the last 2 picks? That's a little bit change.
That is very interesting indeed, yeah. I mean, we have seen support profit.
Yeah, support profit
yeah, that's
possible.
To like secure your safe lane or even off lane.
It's true.
I also feel like
Side played that though?
These 3 cores just don't really like look that scary.
Makes no sense, right?
Yeah, it almost feels like one of them needs to be a support.
Yeah, yeah.
Team Liquid's turn
Crystal Maiden.
Crystal Maiden.
And that's the thing. OPTIC had this last pick of the draft. They don't want to lock into, picking their 3 cores and saving supports for their 2 last picks. Like, you're just not utilizing second pick well if that's the case.
CM's one of those that has returned. We thought it might. It was there's a lot of people talking about this, wasn't there, before the group stage started, pondering whether mana, is it going to be important? Well, Crystal Maiden fit in with that. How does it fit around the drop? Is it worth still picking? It's definitely proven the case, isn't it?
5 seconds
Yep.
remaining.
I think just the popularity of some of these others have overshadowed the Crystal Maiden. It's just like these Venge Marauders, Wraith Kings, and then we took down a few little, down a little bit more. Then we have the CM still picked pretty highly with a decent win rate.
Still 47 picks with 51.06 win rate, so yeah, pretty decent.
There were a lot of memes about her, right? It's just like a global clarity potion.
Yeah.
But right now, if you max at Nova early, your lane pressure is actually insane.
You're the range creep secure, and you're the global clarity.
Exactly. Now you're 2 things. How much damage is Nova level 1? 100? 130?
130.
130, yeah.
Yeah, it matches the mana now, because they changed that one back after Summit.
Yeah, that is fierce. So they're probably not going to pick Miracle Sealer last, because there's honestly no difference whether they pick it 4th or 5th, if your first pick. So what could be a good Miracle hero here? I personally like Invoker, if they want to go down that.
We may
but it's like a mid-brood probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just the brood mid.
Yeah.
Still Bloodseeker in the pool. That's being picked quite a lot against the Necrophos.
Phantom Lancer, potentially.
Yeah, that's actually been one of the sleeper heroes here, 26 picks and a 61.54% win rate.
Because usually he gets picked quite late, and then
Best
the game is very good for him.
OPTIC Gaming.
They do go for the
bat. I've seen them do the bat versus the Necro so many times.
It's really good.
It's just amazing. And then with the Earth Spirit thrown on top, you have such good kill threat on the laning phase. So now it's like Liquid's looking to hunt for this lane. So you're probably going to see them scout very early on just to get this Bat Rider versus Necro matchup. And the beauty also is that he might also be versus the Nature's Prophet. So it's like a double benefit for him.
Either way, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, even if they put both Necro and Prophet as cores, he will just demolish both lanes.
Yeah, he's very happy about that.
You definitely have to go away from the Prophet core now, I think. There's way too many good heroes against him right now. Get the position for Prophet. Does Sai play that? Has he played it? I don't know. Probably has.
I'm thinking back to when it was at the DAC era, when we saw the rise of the Nature's Prophet. I don't know if he played it, though.
Well, he can definitely do it. He played a lot of offlane Prophet back in this time.
Yeah,
so.
if you really want, you can just play 4-position CM and put the Prophet as a 5 as well.
It also works, yeah.
It's kind of a similar concept, just depending where you want the heroes to lane.
Always love myself some BKB freezing field fights.
Versus Venge and Bat, kind of tough, though.
Yeah, and then you get swapped and you're like, oh no.
Team Liquid.
So OPTIC thing.
On the back to carry Ricky.
Just in case.
Yeah. It's also, I mean, versus Necro.
It's very good.
Necro is all about getting your Ghost Shard out. If you're silenced this early, like, it actually could be pretty scary with the Venge as well. Like, the Venge is what can enable that Ricky to really just pop off. That's
yeah, we've seen 3 Rickies so far, only 1 win during the group stage.
Honestly, Liquid has a lot of heroes to choose from.
They've got a good mix in their draft. Like, they've got Teamfight, they've got Magical, Physical. While I look at OPTIC, I feel like they really lack Physical right now between the heroes. It's mostly Magical.
Yeah, the only thing they have is like a Tiny or Physical. And
yeah,
that's not a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
What Liquid be looking for? Their draft is so well rounded already.
It is.
Probably just a strong laner that doesn't suffer too much from a Prophet Tiny dual lane potentially.
I was thinking something maybe like a I don't want to throw it out, but I was going to say something like Sven, because
Sven is really good. Level 15 talent, you can dispel the Ghost Route as well.
Right, what are they looking for? I mean,
okay.
So we take the
Safer.
Yeah.
And it's a PL.
Yeah.
Okay.
Phantom Lancer.
Huh.
So that's the lane that they want to get the PL versus the Bat Rider.
Right.
If PL gets farmed, they're going to win this game. Like late game, they have nothing against the PL. Yeah. Unless they jump in first, which is incredibly difficult to do with
All right, boys, it's that time one more time. 60 seconds of stats. Miracle delivered big time for Liquid in that last game. That 12-minute, 20-second Radiance was in the top 20 all-time in over 1,000 pickups in pro Dota 2 LAN play. In this game, OPTIC has to control that early game. Necrophos in this tournament, 15-10 record in games that end before 40 minutes, only 5-12 in games that go late. But there are two sides to every story, and that Matumbaman Brood is going to be the problem throughout. He is 7-1 on that hero in TI LAN play. Nobody else has more than 3 wins. Guys, the backs are against the wall for the North American team in the upper bracket. Paul, what do you think?
Thank you very much. Yes, good stuff. I'm glad he managed to elaborate in that. Time to head over to our commentary duo for game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. It's Synderen and Toby1.
Well, what a game. Synderen, we were sitting here during the drafting phase, and you were like, we're going to have, we're going to have Broodmother as the second pickup, and you were nailing every single one. You knew what Liquid were going to do.
It's a slight exaggeration.
Okay, you knew 3 out of 5 as they were coming up, but Liquid looked like they were almost predictable. OPTIC, like, are they in a good spot? Like, can they utilize this draft to force us into a game 3?
So what I think happened here is that Liquid are drafting a specific pattern that we saw during the groups, and they get these really good core matchups for their Bat Rider with the Earth Spirit that we've also seen them play. And I'm just looking at, okay, what can OPTIC actually do in this position? They need a hero that can lane against that Bat. They need a hero that's also good against Brood. That last pick, Phantom Lancer, seems like a good choice, but it's also decent against the Ursa. I'm kind of with the panel on this, that if it goes late, the Phantom Lancer as well as Necro will do great, but can they get there? You've seen the Brood of Matumbaman just destroy this mid-game timings of enemy teams, so playing slow against Brood doesn't have the best track record exactly against this team.
It really doesn't, because the Broodmother just dominates the mid lane totally, and in the current meta where it's this 2-1-2, bringing someone in to help out the mid lane normally means you're going to lose one of your side lanes, and then you've got 2 heroes to worry about, and then you still can't instantly deal with the Broodmother. They don't have great scouting methods for them. They can deal with what Brood throws at them, but beyond that, more questions start to be asked. But with Team Liquid, if they win this game, they're into top 6 for TI8. Yep. That's guaranteed position, and that's the big advantage as well of being in this quarterfinal in the winners bracket. Top 6 at TI, you're already very satisfied. Obviously, Liquid, though, won't be satisfied until they've got the whole win. And a good start would be killing up high cap.
Yeah, this is maybe all let's see.
8 shots. Rolling Boulder will connect. Kuro's got the magic missile. Doppelganger already. Pycat, which one's the real one? They can't work it out. They magic missile and attack the wrong one. He's just auto running to the left.
Nice bait.
Oh, it's just like, we're going to start this way with OPTIC every single time. Such a simple match.
It's cool. Yeah, I was gonna make a final comment on it. We don't really get to see it just yet, but this Ursa versus Phantom Lancer matchup is one we've seen a couple of times during the groups, I would say. And Liquid picking the Ursa in the position that they did, I think they were anticipating this Lancer pick. I think they were expecting that this would happen, and they're willing to take the risk. In my mind, Ursa is actually a decent hero against Phantom Lancer at specific timings in the game, just because Fury Swipes, once you get it on the real PO, he doppelgangers, it sticks. You can follow him very easily and bring him down with this heavy chase that they have from Earth Spirit and Bat Rider, and you can even swap him back in with the Venge. So I think it makes a lot of sense. However, later on, Lancer is a problem a lot of the time for this Ursa hero.
Yeah, because then there's just so many of them, they're going to be burning off the mana if he decides to get a Diffusal Blade. Whole bunch of problems for him. Top lane, I think it's going to be a lot of problems for OPTIC Gaming. It's already the aggression of Kuro. Rolling Boulder is actually blocked by Zai. He's doing a lot of damage to GH. PP isn't much more to give apart from his life. The Nova does connect, but GH already beginning his self. They've taken so much damage. Yeah, they dump first blood. If they can get more, the Earth Shock comes in from Miracle. Remember, he went that level 1, but 33 Death Pulse, chasing him into the tree line. They need a little bit more damage, a little bit more reveal. The attack keeps the armor low from Zai, and time with the Nova. The slowdown Miracle find the kill. There's still a pesky Earth Spirit behind the lines. And thanks to this being 1 minute into the game, the respawns are quick. You know they're going to just open up again.
And what we have here is one of the situations that we haven't had very much during this tournament. It's actually a 3-1-1 setup for both teams. Currently, the Batrider playing a 1-on-1 against the Phantom Lancer. OPTIC did have to pay a decent amount of experience to bring down the Phantom Lancer to this bottom lane, but they do end up getting the lane matchup that they want. They don't want Ursa against that Lancer, and they definitely do want their Lancer against the Batrider. Necrophos against Batrider, unplayable lane.
GH has already TP'd down towards bottom lane, so yeah, PL not what he wants to have. He'll back up for now, away from the ES. Thanks to the Dire Observer Ward that was already down from OPTIC, they're already very well aware of this rotation. That's when you got the flexibility of a hero like Nature's Prophet. Could bounce anywhere across the map. This Nature's Prophet can just change the balance of the lanes very quickly without having to rotate very early on. So now it's Miracle, who's not going to get much out of the lane. 1 CS in 2 minutes is the opposite of his game 1.
And Ursa's not really the greatest combat hero. If you have an atrocious laning stage, it takes a decent amount of time to catch up in that jungle position. So we'll see how it goes for him so far. Like you said, OPTIC have a pretty good grip on this top lane. I think this matchup it's weird, right? The Ursa against Necrophos. Ghost Shroud is amazing against Ursa, but at the same time, Ursa one of the hardest burst heroes. So if you have Ghost Shroud on cooldown or you're stunned, Ursa can make quick work of you, but obviously Vengeful, they have no kill potential up here right now.
GH is in trouble. He'll rolling boulder up, PPD, as all great CMs do. Goes Frost Nova as well as the Arcane Aura, so Crystal Nova, sorry, then the Arcane Aura. So no Frostbite to stun him up. But at least makes GH burn his consumable. He's got 3 stick charges and a Clarity to work with.
The thing I talked about last game with this Liquid team that they have...
trouble for Zai. Koro and Miracle opening up on him. Zai beginning the TP and TP out!
Bottom lane 2.
Yep, they're going out. Multiple targets. Pycat. So Prophet escapes. Pycat will not. PPD now under the Firefly with Ziggy Napalm on him. He's got an over-off cooldown now, so wants to turn around to at least dish out something. As he'll salve up.
This is going to be one of those games that you see where if you have this view on Liquid that, they just set up Miracle for the perfect game and he carries every game, that's not how this team necessarily works in their games. This time around, they have way more emphasis on getting Matumba Man on his Broodmother off to a good start, and Mind Control will be doing a lot of work. Bottom lane again, Firefly's up.
They really just want to keep going every time the fire's there. Great kick from GH, buying more time. PPD with a 3 sticky napalm charges on him, but Pycat, maybe he can get a revenge, and he will onto Mind Control.
That's a very important kill.
314 gold for Pycat, and obviously it's a support kill going the other way.
Yep. A lot of experience too. Mind Control in this situation was level 4. So Pycat is kind of evening out the lane now as far as experience goes. On the gold, still a slight disadvantage, but he has a wave in his tower, so it's going to even out. Just this one exchange doing a lot for OPTIC in that bottom lane.
We haven't even really looked. Okay, we can look towards top lane as this is just a simple initiation Ghost Shroud as well as the bump, but that's why you've got that Earth Shock. Slow down 33. One more fist pump would do it, but 33, the movement speed with the Dead Pulse. Miracle's real low, but he has the damage required to get the kill. Zai doesn't have the vision, so Miracle can just south back up again. While that was happening on bottom lane, there was another kill onto PPD. Mind Control and GH copping a lot of damage, but they're there for the 5-minute bounty runes.
Crystal Maiden is a very slow hero. 277 move speed. PPD is nowhere near getting boots. So this Batrider Earth Spirit, just hyper-aggression, is difficult for the Crystal Maiden to deal with. Is this 4 runes?
It's 4 bounty runes.
Oh, that's bad news for OPTIC.
This is some really good money in for Team Liquid, and it's actually repaired a little bit of the damage of the network between CCNC and Matumbaman, because CCNC's been having a really great mid lane. Yeah, the CS looks a little bit better for the Broodmother, but CCNC's got majority of these as lane creeps, as well as a couple of extra spiders.
We've seen Matumbaman play this lane, I think, twice before this tournament, however, and if he plays against this Tiny, he's willing to lose a little bit. That's how the lane goes. He's just farming jungle and getting the job done later.
A rolling boulder going in under the bottom lane. Pycat was able to doppelganger dodge it, so Mind Control and GH will not get the initiation they want. And OPTIC's been really posturing on the top, looking to bring down Miracle. He's got 9 stick charges available. But it was Zai looking for the range harassment onto him to at least put him in some level of peril that Necro can make the most of. Something else we should probably be a little bit more scared of too is when that scythe is up for Necro.
PPD as well.
Great trap on bottom. They came in with a Sprout. Firefly from Mind Control had to be used trying to body block it up with the Treant. Won't happen. Pycat jumps in deeper. He's still got a Lance as well as Doppelganger available. Lost vision for half a second. So Mind Control does return back to his tier 1 tower.
That is a rotation from OPTIC that they gain nothing out of, really.
Like,
and it puts Necro in this awkward position where he has to play a bit safer now. He can actually die up here now that Liquid no. Oh, they found Peter.
PPD.
Poor old Peter.
Well, this is a chance for the Mouth of Water, especially when GH can land that 3-man kick. Mind Control has the fire right on top of him. They're going to kill up GH in return, but he actually gets the silence off. Doppelganger out. Mind Control had to slow him down. Zai already had 3 sticky napalm charges on him. PPD will arrive. He's got Frostbite available, but he just can't close the distance. Pycat needs to slow down Mind Control with the lance to then bring PPD closer, but even then it's 276 versus 277 movement speed. Now you got Nova, but Mind Control's got the distance and the 1 charges to survive.
And GH brings in the Tranquils and refills the bottle. So it looked like, okay, at least they got some good pressure out. Nope, PPD's not going to be expecting this.
Rolling Boulder back in again. PPD was at least able to dodge the Rolling Boulder in, but it's just going from bad to worse for him. He's 0 now for 5. Again, being the majority of Liquid's kills.
It's a really, really hard game for Maiden, to be fair, in this early game when you get this laning. Phantom Lancer is good against Batrider, but this exchange of just the supports being in the lane, Maiden is food for this dual lane.
Zai looking to try and engage. 33 is really close to level 6, but he's too far off. He needs more creeps to die. So now the attack comes in from Miracle. Ghost Shroud's still available, but he's already burned his stick charges and doesn't have Dead Pulse up just yet. So Kuro keeps the vision up as, Miracle wants to salva, get back into the fight, but level 6 is there, but there's no mana for the Reaper's side. Prophet has to come back in again. Miracle just can't try and getting away from these Treants, but then the stun is there from Kuro. Zai's arriving. Sprout, can he actually lock up Kuro? The distance decides this up. Kuro won't die to this. Maybe the last attack. It is there from 33. The regeneration gets to arrive. That's why he pops up the Ghost Shroud. And Miracle losing armor, but that burst damage. Ooh, almost bringing down Zai, but it's a big kill for 33. 2 of them, in fact.
Such a close game. Maiden Aura. That's that global clarity. It actually made the difference. 33 got his Reaper in time.
Oh, bottom lane. Hey, at least Maiden can stay alive for a little bit longer. He's okay.
He's fine this time.
There's too much harassment actually coming in to Mind Control when he goes in this deep now. Should have also flagged that mid lane. Tier 1 tower was brought down by CCNC. This is closing up the area that Matubberman has to play in. Obviously, you can still move very fast inside of the webs.
This is what you want to do if you're playing against Brood. If you can't hunt Brood and kill it, at least put pressure on the tower constantly so you get something out of it. Either Brood has to go back and defend, which costs farm, or you just get that free map control. And very nice from CCNC.
Coming for him.
Oh, he's not going to find him here. It looks like he's waiting for it, but Matumba.
GH. They're going again on bottom lane. Pycat's going to use his Doppelganger. Just trying to get away. It's a good stack, and that's why Mind Control has that Firefly down with the sticky napalm level 4. Just try and burn through it. PPD will probably try and time this Nova right if he can catch GH out in the tree line. CCNC even comes in looking for this, and Zai TP's in, but he doesn't get the Sprout onto Mind Control.
Didn't get the right angle on the... I think this is not where he wanted to teleport in. He teleported in a bit of an awkward spot and had to try to blind cast the Sprout. Not having boots on the Nature's Prophet either. This lineup is actually just moving pretty slowly across the board. Nobody has good move speed in their team.
Nice toss in from TCNC. He actually threw his tree and I think got like 10 CS of spiders with one swing. Really trying to make sure that the Matubberman doesn't have a free time. They've even got the Observe Ward blocking up the camp.
All right, this time around OPTIC will get bounty runes, so that's good news. It's like an even trade-off for 2.
Yeah, bottom lane though, Mind Control's looking for the kill. Flash, you have Lasso up and running. PL needs to be able to Doppelganger away. Rolling Boulder, they kept the control going so long, and PPD, mercy, mercy, mercy. The Crystal Maiden is now 0-6. And life is very hard for her, but it's the diminishing returns. There has to be diminishing returns eventually on this. Maybe with the Haster and CCNC can work with Zai. They have the Observer Ward down. They're looking for the Brood, but Matumba's in pretty deep.
He's playing this very well. Has a good read on what's going on.
Rolling Boulder in. They're looking for a double. Kick is going to not be there. They turn on the Magnetizer set. Oh, the kick is still there. CCNC can't escape from this. Toss was still on cooldown. Sakuro swapping Zai back into the fight. And then the perfect body block and control. Matubberman's been keeping up, but now he's ahead. Number 1 of the net worth with those 2 kills.
I've talked about this during the group stage as a similar, like, a concept that you see some teams play better than others. I think Liquid's one of the absolute best at this, is playing around your strong heroes. They take advantage of, you see, they realize, okay, Miracle's not in the best position in this game. We're going to help him a bit, and then we will put so much pressure on the rest of the map that Miracle gets to be a force in this game. He didn't really truly have to play comeback just because of how much they played around Mind Control and now around the Brood of Matumba.
PyCat looking for a GH. He's just so damn good. Mind Control. His Firefly will wear off. They're summon up the treants. They want to go in deep. GH wild rolling boulder this time. Gets him into safety at least. But his kicks have been totally on point.
And look, it just seems so logical, right, when you look at it. We have this strong hero that can do something right now. We should take advantage of this, play to that hero's strengths, so we get fights. And in turn, if we do it properly, it relieves pressure on the other lanes. And that's basically what's given Miracle this he's almost back to third net worth in this game.
Nice sprout reveal on bottom Mind Control. With the fortification of the Dire creeps, it keeps the tier 1 tower alive in middle, which is what Matumba is trying to take at the moment. But allowing them a little bit more pressure onto the tier 1 tower with the rotation of CC and C. You kind of hope they would get more out of this.
Yep.
But it doesn't happen for an Optic fan. PyCat just TP's back into farm. He is going to go that Diffuser Blade after the Treads Aquila.
This Vanguard on Mind Control is actually really good this game.
Are scanning.
When you're snowballing this hard from the laning stage, you just look at, okay, how can I be the biggest pestilence in fights that they can't deal with? Largely he can ignore Treants, largely he can ignore the PL illusions, and just this early on, they are not killing him without a Reaper, I think. And Necrophos doesn't want to go there. So he can feel very confident. I'm curious to see if Mind Control goes for a dagger now, or if he even goes just a full-on combat build with Vanguard and Pipe, and just runs into them and fights. And he's like, try to kill me. I have a swap behind me.
He can get the Blink Dagger later if they really require it. That's what will allow him to at least catch up to Zai. And Zai's a threat, but a threat you can see coming from a very long way away. And Mind Control maybe thinks about the fight. The Nova will scare him off. And again, Matumba attacks in towards the mid. PyCat was there, looking for a denial. Has to doppelganger himself away. Matumba already burned off the Insatiable Hunger. 33 TPs over. Kuro's nearby. But they don't have extra support. Zai is currently farming up inside the Radiant jungle.
And it might not look that big, but this TP from 33 is actually going to matter quite a lot. If he gets spotted on a ward, I think they saw him in the river, so now they know he's crossing toward bottom. And this is Miracle's cue to just play aggressive top. Knows there's no Necrophos here. He TP'd mid. There's no other way he could have got here in time, so you just redistribute your resources. Sure, you guys can have the bottom tower. In some way, you kind of argue they over-rotated. They brought 4 heroes down here.
Great ops. Mind Control instantly has his smoke being broken. And Optic do want to try and fight. As you said, like, they have their own Observer ward. So 33 will walk under it. The tier 1 tower was lost on bottom. CCNC has Blink Dagger ready to initiate. But he's not finding his target, so they instead add pressure onto bottom lane. Mop up the creep wave, push the tier 2 tower a little bit. But Liquid are happy with this. Straight Roshan trade-off. Optic Gaming are nearby, but they cannot contest this. They do not have the power.
Brood and Ursa is such an exceptional Roshan combo. Very easy. Aegis, they put it on Matumba, man. This Brood is getting ready to rock and roll. They know he's the richest hero in the game. And arguably a better hero to have Aegis on than Ursa. Usually Ursa with Aegis, it can be a little bit tricky, like which life do you enrage? It's similar to when you have BKB. Do you BKB your first or second life?
Bottom lane attacks coming in. They need to get that stun control and then follow up with a Reaper's Snipe. The Mind Control hasn't taken enough damage just yet. He's so damn tanky with the 1 charges too. They'll get the lasso out, so Tiny just has to remain for a moment and they swap inside. No escape for him. He's not even beginning his TP. He just remains stationary. And Optic lose too. They do not claim that bottom tower, and they don't even in any way threaten the Aegis.
Oh, looks like the Aegis is going to threaten them. Instead, found the wrong one. Good move again by PyCat. If the right one gets found there, he actually dies. Matumba can easily solo this Phantom Lancer after Doppelganger has been expended.
PyCat still needs to get stronger.
Exactly. We were looking at this game and we were looking at, okay, Optic, you need to get this Phantom Lancer to a strong state in the late game and not lose full control of the map on the way there. And Liquid are just dominating them. Again, it's a huge advantage. And especially Lancer not doing better than this in lane hurts, because ideally at this point you want to have this diffusal completed. So he's like 1,000 to 2,000 gold behind par for the course, I would say. And
they're going up the top. Miracle jumps in, goes up the side. The Sprout pushes Miracle. Well, pushes him away and leaves Miracle contained. But so easy to cut out, always with Quelling Blade in hand.
And look at Mind Control's item build. How is anyone gonna die when this Batrider has Crimson Pipe minute 20?
Oh, I know how everyone can die, but they're all Optic players.
Yep.
Pycat initiated on. CCN3 throws the tree in, and he doesn't actually blink to go for the Avalanche Toss. In fact, he's diffusal up. Matumba turns around for the fight, so now the Avalanche Toss will arrive, but Necro has to help defend. The Death Pulse can chase the spiders.
And that's all Matumba wanted. Diving for that kill will take forever. He was hoping to get a response out of a hero, and he forces the TP. That's good enough.
Oh, here comes CCNC, Avalanche and Toss. They'll combo together nicely to get the kill on Kuro. Yeah, it's problematic. Your Scepter up. It's his defensive one.
Overwhelmed. Again, GH combining with Matumba. GH has been in 15 kills in 17 minutes on this Rift Spirit. Just really excellent read on the map, like where he can have the biggest impact. He plays with the Batrider for a long time. They trash that lane. He's like, okay, that's good enough. Let's go and play with Matumba Man, who just got the Fusel. They get these kills mid. It's just very systematic, good play, really.
Yeah.
There's not much else to say. They're doing all the right things.
Do they take out all the remaining outer towers? Like, do they continue to look for fights before they go high ground?
I think they grab the top tier 2 at least. These bottom towers are pretty annoying to get to. The distance from the bottom tier 2 of their own to that tower, it's a very long reach. When you've taken Roshan, it's a better play because then the enemy team can't really trade off by going for Rosh while you're pushing these bottom towers really far away. But they don't really have that much value right now. I think they'd rather take the top tower and then go there, if anything. Or if they're feeling confident, they could look to even high ground from the top area.
It's a smart
game.
What they do. They're coming after Miracle on top lane. Pycat will need to slow him down. But the ping is already on the way. So Kuro's pinging it out. They have a lot of vision around that bottom Dire Shrine. That's why Matumba is just farming that area. So the ping came in. Vision close, the Nova. It does not click Miracle.
Sixth sense there for Miracle. When you go for smokes like these, every second matters because it becomes more and more apparent what Optic are doing. Brood is covering the right side of the map with an Observer Ward placed by Kuro. The mid lane is empty, and nobody's at the bottom tower. So, where could Optic possibly be? I think Miracle there. I thought he was going to back earlier. He really stretched that as far as he could without getting caught. But the right read, and they will be going for the bottom tower after all. So now that they've forced the Optic team to go top to Miracle, who was just pressuring this tower to, well, if you guys don't come here, I'm going to take the tower. If you do, we'll just swap to the other side of the map. And they will grab at least one here, maybe two. We'll see.
Top lane. TPs up towards the top lane. ES came into the tier 2 tower. Kuro will arrive with Mind Control. No Blink Dagger available, so lands from Pycat. Tries to slow him down, but he doesn't have Doppelganger. 33 can't really save him. Prophet's coming in through the rear. They'll lasso and drag Pycat down. Now he's not got Doppelganger available. The kick and silence is pretty good from GH, but there's a lot more support arriving in from Optic. GH in the tree line. They'll take anything they can, but CCNC once more. Avalanche and Toss onto Miracle, but CCNC interrupted by the magic missile of Kuro. Miracle just has to enrage and TP out, and somehow GH is still running away from Pycat all the way up on the north. 33 can't find his own target. Maybe with the Your Scepter they can bring down Kuro. Reaper Sight is still available. Finally the kill happens up on the top. Liquid heavily split, but Mind Control's not done yet. The Flame Break on a 33. He'll go Shroud and get that regeneration outside. Finishes up the tower. Mind Control still can't get closer. However, maybe when PPD is this slow, they can actually do it. He has to Frostbite and run to the side. CCNC's got combination available. PPD will finally drop, and they just want to leave the Reaper Scythe on the bottom. They find the kill onto Matumba. A huge kill, down for so long, and a huge amount of money in for 33.
Matumba was down here this whole fight. He didn't TP to his team. Just splitting the map, getting the bottom tier 2.
Money, money, money. Oh, okay.
No money.
He stopped to summon trees.
Oh, it's actually hard to kill this courier because it has a plate mill. That's pretty convenient, right? Doesn't hit very hard when you have a plate mill on it. Well, the Brute's damage bottom, I would say, is worth a death. He took the tier 2 and 1/3 of the tier 3. There might have been a time there for Matumba Man to back out, but what he did force was the rotation from both the PL and the Necro to come down there, and that's what secured Liquid that fight in the end. Had he escaped that without losing his life, it would have been very clean from them, but mistakes do happen.
Yep. You actually have a quick look at this fight again up on top. So underneath the tier 1 tower, CCNC already forced to retreat, but they just wanted to force this so hard.
You see Miracle casting the Enrage there in anticipation of the Reaper's Scythe, but that makes 33 hesitate for a moment. His blink comes off cooldown, he gets out. Now he Yules they catch this Venge, but they can't Reaper him, and I don't think he wants to either. Good thing for 33, he didn't actually. He ends up using that bottom to kill that Broodmother.
Yeah. Yeah, she kind of wondered like what this fight would have been like if PL didn't go chasing after a support. Have a breather.
Why am I so greedy? That's the face of a guy saying, why am I so greedy?
That's Matumba, he's meant to be the unbridled aggression. OPTIC are back into their farming. Zai with Wrath of Nature just keeps pushing out the lanes. And this is where OPTIC can stall things up. The fact that Nature's Prophet, he's finished up a Spirit Vessel. He can keep the side lanes going. They've got great wave clear OPTIC. So pushing high ground is a very risky thing for Liquid. One person goes down to Reaper's Scythe. They're dead for a very long time. If you want to commit the buyback, sure, but it's OPTIC who can defend quite comfortably from range.
If they hold out long enough, this Phantom Lancer will be pretty scary. So, absolutely, that is...
He's catching up on the net worth. He's almost the same as the Earth. And now they go towards the mid, but Kuro has the distance.
They didn't have enough information about the position of all the Radiant heroes to commit for that kill, and it's also a low-value kill anyway, so they don't want to risk anything to get this Venge. Liquid again with a good map read.
Is Matumba waiting for a fight? He's just sitting on top of this Ancient for the last like 20-25 seconds. Puts down an Observer Ward. Zai actually did that on the other side of the trees, so Matumba shouldn't be aware of it.
Yep.
Oh. He's looking for someone to come and farm.
He's lurking. This is pretty dangerous if he just goes up the high ground here.
Comes over, goes out to CCNC, Avalanche and Toss will kill off his army with the Wrath of Nature. Matumba just turns on the Insatiable Hunger. Pike needs to help him out underneath the shrine. He doesn't want to commit for this, but he will when there's extra support. My Control's got Blink and PPD. Not again, not like this. He's going to be jumped, lassoed back, and the Crystal Maiden is mauled.
This play is really similar to the Alchemist play from last game where Miracle didn't ulti or didn't have it and ran at the enemy team. It's like Matumba, this looks like such an awful position. Like it looks like he's overdiving. The whole team is behind him in a smoke, and OPTIC actually with a really good read to not commit for that Brood kill. You see, you're just looking at the situation like this is kind of a crazy dive. Where's everybody else?
Yep. And they're getting the trade-off in the meantime. 33 pushing out this bottom lane like he wants to get out of here. Zai will die, and 33 won't have to take the same sacrifice, but he has an Aghanim Scepter fully completed 24 minutes in on 33.
Yes. Could be a big item. They still have the problem of getting the heroes down to half health in the first place.
Yeah.
But once they get over that step, it will get interesting. So CCNC with a Shadow Blade should be able to do that on most of the Radiant cores. And obviously Pycat with just 1 or 2 extra items. Time is ticking. Liquid are not actually gaining. Look at the gold graph. It's
plateauing.
It's been 6 minutes, and they're not really making progress. That's not necessarily a problem for now, but if they do take a bad fight, it could become problematic. This Roshan should belong to them.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what they choose to do with it, if they try to high ground or not.
And that's the big enabler, right? Like, Team Liquid need to have this Aegis and cheese so they can just go high ground, so they can take the fight that you're talking about.
And I think the key in this coming fight is that Mind Control tries to find Necrophos. If he manages to do that, that would be really big. For him, though, he doesn't have a Force Staff in this game with the build that he went. He went for a way more teamfight heavy, less skirmishy item build. So if he does catch this Necro, counterplay is available. He can't Force Staff the Necro into his team, so he's got to be a little bit careful with how he goes about it. You don't want to lasso Tiny, because it lasts 1 second.
Yep.
And Phantom Lancer is a pretty difficult catch, so it should be pretty clear that he wants...
GH can be revealed by this Observer Wall, but the Blink Lasso has already come out. Zai's going to get caught. GH will be there to support, and PPD for once is not the man who's dying. Oh, no. Okay. He flew the other direction, almost full-on Caster Curse.
PPD was aware that all their lockdowns used both lasso and kick, I believe, went into that kill on the Nature's Prophet, so was able to get out. Miracle.
Yeah, he's got that Observer. We're just watching the PL Illusions farming. This very thick coverage of the Dire jungle. And wherever there is an award, there's GH or there's a Broodmother. Right. Manta Style is done for the Phantom Lancer.
Pycat's starting to get somewhere now. He's still, I think, his next item, if he gets that without them losing more than maybe 1 lane of barracks, this game could get really interesting for OPTIC. But it's a big if. They're 12,000 down. They could have Aegis and Cheese. They have the high ground position right now that they're trying to strike from, which is being pinged out by PPD, is aware that this seems like the most likely place for them to be right now based on their vision. And good thing about this Nature's Prophet pick is that, well, when Liquid tries to start getting into this high ground position, the split push is kicking in. 33, as well as Treant's top. are pushing this down quickly, and I think Liquid will retreat and not get to high ground just yet.
Yeah, you see this, it's the heroes too, they're willing to sacrifice. Well, yes, you want to have like items onto 33. He's already got the Aghanim Scepter. He's got the item for that high ground defense. And Zai, well, he's the sacrificial lamb. The rest of the time, it's making sure PL has that space to farm up. Continue to get bigger. CCNC does get initiated on. Support is nearby, but they are not going to help him out. CCNC can do the avalanche toss and hurt Matumberman, but you hurt him, but you don't kill him. He's still got the Aegis. Instant movement. 33 is on bottom lane. They're pushing out the other side lane, and they do find a big... ninth death to PPD. And they also saw Zai, I think, for half a second. They just keep pinging him out, too.
Sometimes Dota is really hard. Sometimes it's just really, really hard. It's one of those games. Being Crystal Maiden in this game is really hard.
Yep. But at least now they know where Ursa and GH move. Both TP down to the shrine underneath the Dire Obs. So OPTIC can play around this. Kuro and Matumba rotating down towards the bottom lane as well. With Manta, it's so easy for Phantom Lancer to dodge out of these areas. Hey, Zai, you want to kill that ward in time? Yeah, he does.
He does.
154 gold. I like it.
So Zai going for that Force Staff without... He still doesn't have boots. Gets, obviously, some movement speed from that Spirit Vessel. 30 movement speed. So it helps. And he has a movement speed talent. So still moves at a decent 362. And this Force Staff is crucial for his team. That's how they can try to disengage from a Diffusal Broodmother. It's how they can try to disengage from an Ursa blinking and going for a bash. It will, however, not save them from Lasso.
Yeah.
And Mind Control with that newly picked up Yules now has 2 disables and skirmishes.
The push is coming again up on top lane, but Team Liquid, remember, they've got the Aegis Immortal, they've got the cheese. They want to be breaching the base. Even if it's just to kill off the tier 3 tower, that will open up the shrines for, well, demolishing. So they smoke up, 4 heroes together. And who's going to be the target? Right now, Prophet still has a lot of momentum on top lane. CCNC's farming in the jungle, getting very close towards that Shadow Blade, but they need to hold their buyback money too. Tiny and Necro both have buyback available, and here's Matumberman testing the defenses, putting the toe in the Optic Lake. And how cold's it going to be? PPD. Oh, that's cold. That's real cold. PPD just gets exploded again. 43 seconds down, Blink Lasso, big target, they caught out 33, there needs to be some kind of save. CNC, where is the extra help? The swap back, they just keep going one by one. Luckily there's a lot more Pycat where that came from, chasing after Kuro, burning off the mana. Pycat now has to use the mana style, but he waited, so then the Diffuser Blade follow-up is up. Pycat does not have buyback available. Necro is used, his Miracle has burned the BKB. Now you may have taken the top tier 2 tower and Zai's been reaching the tier 3 tower on top, but you are losing your mid if you're Optic. And who wants to come back to defend this? Zai's already beginning his TP out, and it's Mind Control who's sent back for defense. They don't care. Miracle and Matumba will be happy to continue this fight.
That was the one lasso they needed. The exact target at the exact time. Mind Control just waited for it patiently. When's Necro coming in?
Send him up, bring him back down again. Remember, there's still the Aegis Immortal on Matumberman, but Avalanche, can he toss him back in? No! The silence is up, and CCNC, the triple kick! GH! God! So good! Triple kill for Miracle! They're gonna look for the Ultra! This will be a dive back on 33! Wait for the inevitable! Matumberman's just a beast! Miracle will take the Ultra kill, and that really is probably the game. They're in fact doing it. GG Cole, it's gonna come out in just a bit as the GG pushes up. Pycat is the sole defender for Optic Gaming, and there is no way he can hold back the Horde.
Liquid just looks so good, man. They're making all these super good decisions with which heroes they put where, how they play their lanes, how they move around, spellcasting, everything's on point. They look in really good shape, honestly.
Yeah.
That's
GG.
That's it.
Team Liquid have done it. To half an hour for game 2. But it belongs to them, and so does top 6. They are the defending champions, and they are playing champion-level Dota.
They made it look easy this game, I gotta say. This time, they didn't have this super big Alchemist time bomb that you had just had ticking. This game was more about just crisp execution. Like I said, movement, laning. They just itemization.
They're ticking every box.
I feel like I watched this game and I couldn't really put a finger on what they did. Like everything was super clean. Actually, no, there was one. GH missed a kick.
critical.
Once.
But then
he missed the silence.
Yeah, but then he got like 3 4-man kicks as well every single time. GH was all across the map, and that's got to feel good for Team Liquid. A terrific start to their TI8 campaign here in the playoffs. They're able to get the victory in the quarterfinals. Now they're top 6 at TI8.
Congratulations then to Team Liquid. They are the reigning champions, and they've managed to make their way through to the top 6 guarantee. That's not the end of the story as far as they're concerned, though. They've got one eye on the prize already. But fantastic performance by the defending champions. And commiserations to OPTIC, but they are not out of the tournament. They do drop down for a second chance in the lower bracket. Back with our panel members. Gods, what did you make of the performance overall, the best of 3?
Liquid's just too good at Dota, really.
Do we need to ban them?
It's just insane how talented they are as a team. Some of the plays they're making where like GH is rolling into a preemptive swap. Individually, they're just... I think they outmatch OPTIC in almost every role, and that's with OPTIC having some amazing players like Zai, PPD, and everyone on that team you could say is one of the world-class players, but Liquid just has them beat.
Yeah. GH is a bit of a god. Did make one mistake in there, Mr. Kick.
Terrible.
Terrible. Disgraceful.
Yeah, I mean, that was... that bottom lane was quite a thrashing.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, that Earth Spirit Batrider combo just completely destroyed everything that it seemed that OPTIC had planned. They took over so much. I think GH had like 90% kill involvement throughout the game as well, just running around making everything happen. Me and Black are looking, we're like, oh, Pycat's level 11, I think, on PL, and that's a level 12 Earth Spirit or something. Like, it was just insane how much pressure they actually put on the map.
Yeah, fun Batrider game as well.
Yeah, I mean, we said after the 4th pick it's going to be rough for OPTIC. And this game was just, I think they had a better draft than Liquid, and they just had a way better execution as well. Like, what do you do if you get outplayed and outdrafted? It's like, you can't win Dota.
I guess they have to be kind of philosophical, don't they, Gods? After this, they just have to sort of think, look, that was Liquid, that's the best team in the world. It's where we want to be, but we're not quite there yet. Focus on our own game now through the lower bracket.
Yeah, I would say so. You have to go one series at a time. You're not going to be versing Liquid again for quite some time, most likely. And if you're OPTIC, try and keep your head high. It's very tough going from those winner bracket series straight into the lower bracket. A lot of teams, you get a tough 2-0 loss, can very quickly, be eliminated. But I think for OPTIC, it is very much, hey, it's Liquid. That's okay.
Yeah.
I think
move on quickly.
Sin said it too at the end there. He was like, they didn't really make mistakes. So that's something maybe OPTIC could look at big. They were on fire this game.
Yeah,
just absolutely.
And you have to put it behind yourself, don't you? You can't get too wrapped up in it if it's a quick game. And they were 2 pretty quick games indeed. Why don't we catch up with Casey right now, who is with the captain of Team Liquid, Mr. Kuroki himself.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but that was your 11th game in a row that you've won, including group stage.
I didn't pay attention.
I don't pay attention to my wins. How does it feel, though, to have that momentum coming into TI? Do you think that helped?
From the group stage?
Yeah.
Probably. More like when we start playing on the playoffs, it's more like we want to reset. That's how I want to do it, at least. Just because group stage is like the first chapter of the tournament, and the playoffs is the second one. And since there's a day off between